right, let's get right into it, shall we? Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Kiorkof, and welcome to our Week 15 Sunday morning live stream. Again, this is the first week for many of us of our fantasy football playoffs. Again, we're trying to go ahead in the wild card weekend, per se, of our respective leagues. Go ahead and win, establish ourselves, of course, a pretty good base of points. Hopefully a great performance from our stud overall players. But, of course, win so we can get to the next round and continue towards the ultimate goal of capturing a 2021 Fantasy Football Championship. I want to thank you guys, for those of you who have already been here for quite some time. Appreciate you guys coming out. Just want to go ahead and check something real quick here. Good, just making sure that the audio is good to go. No problems there. All right, so a little bit of a rundown as to how everything's going to go. Everything you see on screen currently, as of those top 36 running backs, wide receivers, and top 16 quarterbacks and tight ends, those are updated rankings as of this morning. So do with it as you will. It is certainly adjusted in comparison to earlier this week. If you guys remember our rankings from, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it looks quite different. I mean, I would say probably at the running back position, the biggest difference is James Robinson going from, I think it was like the number 27 ranked running back, as to someone I said that I probably didn't trust playing on Tuesday, to being a guy that currently sits at number 11 based on the fact that they fired Urban Meyer. They're ready to run the ball. He was healthy on Friday. Both of the interior inside linebackers for the Houston Texans are out this week. There's a lot of things going in his direction that will hopefully help you guys out. You should be starting him. Either way, rankings are on screen for individual positions in a half PPR scoring format as of this morning, like it says right here. Outside of that, of course, as I pointed above me, Underdog Fantasy is there. For those of you who haven't checked them out, there's a link down in the description. If you go ahead and check them out and decide to sign up, use promo code Andrew, because if you do so, Underdog Fantasy is willing to match up to $100 of your first deposit. Go ahead and check that out. For those of you interested in playing in a variety of contests outside of your own respective leagues, and of course, enjoy that. All right, so of course, a lot of questions are going to be sent in regarding your particular scenarios. If in fact you do send in a question, I do appreciate the donation and of course supporting the channel, but be sure to please let me know what your scoring format is, because that is a huge difference maker as to what exactly we are going to kind of figure out your ranking, where I rank these players and where you're going to start these respective players going into this week. All right, anyway, let's get into this, shall we? Let's go ahead and begin before I get left in the dirt or in the dust, per se. Again, there was a lot of questions that before I started the stream could very easily have been answered. Up top, I saw a couple in regards to a couple tight ends this week. I think there was a question between Njoku and Freiermuth. Again, these are all on screen that could very easily help you guys out, and that's the purpose of it being there. All right. Either way, a couple questions sent in. First, Valentine Garcia, thank you very much. Says Fournette, David Montgomery, or Brandon Cooks in the flex position. I'm playing I'm playing Leonard Fournette. As you can see on screen, Leonard Fournette is my number 4 overall running back of the remaining running backs going into this upcoming weekend's contest. Of course, we have games today, Monday and Tuesday. But specifically, even though Fournette did miss Wednesday and Thursday practice, it was a matter of resting him. He did fully practice on Friday, and that gives me the confidence in, of course, starting him against the New Orleans Saints today. Thank you very much. That's my suggestion. Moving on, Coleman Young says, full PPR, Cooks or Darrell Henderson? In a full PPR scoring format, I would play Brandon Cooks. I think Darrell Henderson's certainly going to get opportunity, but with the amount of threats that this offense has through the air, with OBJ playing as well as he has, of course, and Van Jefferson both scoring a receiving touchdown each of the last 3 weeks, Higbee being, kind of another guy that's back in the lineup this week. Sony Michel, who is still probably going to be active in this backfield and take some touches away. Henderson certainly will get the PPR work in the backfield, but Brandon Cooks, in my opinion, in a full PPR, takes the cake in this regard. Thank you very much, Coleman. King Prell says, choose 5. Okay, so we have running back, wide receiver, and 2 flex positions. All right, so the available prospects that we have to pick from: Barkley, Foreman, Gaskin, Terry McLaurin, Van Jefferson, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Knox, Gronk. Also Packers D or Bucks defense today. All right. So in terms of who we're playing at your tight end position, currently I do have Gronk ranked higher than Dawson Knox. As for who we're starting at running back and wide receiver, Myles Gaskin will be the starting running back, and the starting wide receiver would be Van Jefferson. So Gaskin, Jefferson, Gronk. As for your first flex, between a wide receiver / tight end, I would play Dawson Knox. And for your second flex, wide receiver, tight end, and running back, I would play Barkley. So just to go ahead and reiterate King Prell, so we're on the same page. Gaskin, Van Jefferson, Gronk, Knox, Barkley. And in between the Packers defense and the Tampa Bay defense, I would play Tampa Bay today. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, Shane sends in a question. Says, pick 2 in a full PPR scoring format. Running back and flex. Fournette, Connor, Javonte Williams, Cooks, and Ayuk. All right, of the available players that you mentioned, I think Fournette, of course, considering he leads the running back position in total receptions, he's going to be that automatic RB play, in my opinion. Of course, Connor has looked great, but he's dealing with an injury, and the return of Chase Edmonds certainly is going to play an entire role in this backfield. If you guys look at the numbers of James Conner's fantasy success prior to Chase Edmonds' injury and after Chase Edmonds' injury, it's a completely different scenario in which James Conner has been unstoppable as of late in comparison to what he looked like earlier this year. I think he'll get a little bit of a downtick in terms of opportunity. But even with that being mentioned, I think I'm still playing Connor over Cooks and Ayuk. I do expect him to at least find the end zone once. At least once. I mean, that's just pretty much been his MO even before Chase Edmonds' injury. So I think Connor could very easily, safely get you 12 to maybe 14 points today. So I'm going Fournette and Connor. Those are my suggestions, Shane. Appreciate it. Sean Anthony says, need a win to make the playoffs. Okay. Rams are delayed. I have the Rams in my starting lineup. Do you trust starting Henderson in a must-win week? Also, bench Stafford, ? I have San Francisco, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Tennessee quarterbacks on free agency. So the Rams game being postponed to Tuesday does not make me nervous about any sort of capacity. They're going to be playing that game, and I will be starting Matthew Stafford in that regard over all of the other quarterback options you mentioned. So yeah, I'm starting Matthew Stafford. In regards to whether or not I trust Darrell Henderson, I absolutely do. He has missed the last 2 weeks. Yes, that is the case, but in my opinion, he should be ready to go immediately and probably pick up back kind of where he left off. Sure, he's not going to get all of the touches in this backfield. There will be a couple rushing attempts that are kind of designated for Sony Michel, but Darrell Henderson should be a play that we don't really have to worry about and we can start on a weekly basis. So Henderson and Stafford, I'm good to go there, Sean. Appreciate it. Thank you. Leonidas 707 sends in a question, says, which quarterback should I start, Tua or Jalen Hurts in a half PPR league? Okay, so as long as it's a 4-point per passing touchdown league, even in a 6-point per passing touchdown league, I would trust Jalen Hurts more this week. He did come off of a full practice on Friday. Of course, he was dealing with an ankle injury prior to the bye week that he sustained against the New York Giants. But ultimately, when I look at the matchup against the Washington football team, Washington is dealing with a bunch of virus IR players where they may not even have a starting quarterback outside of Garrett Gilbert. There's a potential in which Taylor Heineke and Kyle Allen are both out for this upcoming week's game. It should very well be a one-sided affair where the Philadelphia Eagles have a great advantage there as they have all of their personnel back while coming off of a bye week, and Washington is dealing with a crazy situation. So I would play Jalen Hurts in that regard. Thank you very much, Leonidas. Fainsky says, Andrew, full PPR. Playing against TB12 and Godwin. Flex question, do I start Gronk, Jamar Chase, or Jeff Wilson Jr.? Team, okay. So between the three, I would play Jamar Chase before we even get anywhere. Jeff Wilson Jr., in my opinion, yes, he has another opportunity of being a starting running back in the National Football League, but unfortunately, his last 2 opportunities have gone, I guess, in the wrong direction per se, mainly because we saw him get touchdowns taken away by Deebo Samuel. Again, Deebo Samuel in his last 4 games has scored a rushing touchdown in every single one of them. He's pretty much a running back as long as, Elijah Mitchell isn't there. Even when Elijah Mitchell is there, Deebo Samuel is still taking away work. So for right now, Jeff Wilson, not as enticing as the other two, especially considering you're in a full PPR scoring format. So I would play Jamar Chase there. And considering you have Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, Najee Harris, Kittle, Zeke, Kyler, you're in a very good position this week. Good luck. Should be good. Should be good to go there. All right. Jake St. Paul sends in a question. Let's see here, Jake. Where the heck did the question go? Why? Okay, here it is. Jake says, and I quote, Standard scoring format for the flex position: DK Metcalf or Devonta Freeman. Okay. As long as Tyler Lockett is not playing, I feel like DK Metcalf's probably the play there. With the scenario in which we have Devonta Freeman at, with no Lamar Jackson, it will be Tyler Huntley playing the starting quarterback role of the Baltimore Ravens today against the Green Bay Packers. My thoughts probably in this current scenario are most likely Devonta Freeman, because when he has played with Tyler Huntley, he's gotten an incredible amount of receptions. Both games, over 4 receptions total in the 2 games that they've played together, one against Chicago and then this last week against Cleveland. So he has a lot of PPR base. If he's not able to account for that or get that kind of floor of production because you play in a standard scoring format, then you're just looking for yardage and touchdown upside. And I think, in my opinion, with Tyler Lockett gone, DK Metcalf certainly has the better opportunity at both those statistics. Thank you very much, Jake. Appreciate it. Landon Dickerson says, pick 2, Terry McLaurin, Julio Jones, Michael Gallup, AJ Green, full PPR. I would play Michael Gallup and AJ Green. Michael Gallup's coming off of a week of 9 targets. AJ Green, of course, should be the number 1 outside receiver for this offense going forward, as DeAndre Hopkins dealing with an MCL injury out for the rest of the regular season. Julio Jones against Joe Hayden, I don't trust it. Terry McLaurin coming off of a concussion against Darius Slay, I don't trust that either. I'll take Gallup and I'll take AJ Green. Those are my 2 suggestions. Thank you. Again, for those of you who just have arrived recently, thank you for joining us this morning. Week 15, of course, trying to help you guys set your lineups and set yourself up for success. Really quickly, wanted to reiterate, everything on screen is up-to-date rankings, as it says above me, as of today, December 19th, 2021. These are my top 36 running back wide receiver rankings, along with my top 16 quarterback and tight end rankings. It is for a half PPR, meeting everyone in the middle, whether you do play in a full PPR or a standard format. I just wanted to go ahead and reiterate that. Any players that have already played this week, so any Los Angeles Chargers, Chiefs, New England Patriots, and Indianapolis Colts are no longer on the screen, in order to kind of just give you more players and more perspective as to where I'm going with this weekend. So if you have a question in regards to a singular position, hopefully the rankings on screen can help answer that. Outside of that, if you do send in a question in regards to your specific scenario, please be sure to let me know what you're scoring for minutes. Thank you very much. And if you guys could, it'd be greatly appreciated if you click the like button down below. If every single one of you could click that, that would make my day and make this an easier process. I do appreciate that. I mean, again, it boosts the algorithm and lets YouTube, of course, suggest Andrew to a variety of people to help me out. Thank you. All right. So let's see here. Next question. Michael Williams says, PPR flex, Sony Michel, Miles Sanders, Julio Jones, Gabriel Davis. Out of that group of players, I'm probably in a scenario where I'm thinking Miles Sanders is going to be in a running back by committee scenario. Yeah, he probably will be. With Jordan Howard back and Boston Scott back, Jordan Howard is probably the number 2 there. Boston Scott 3, Kenneth Gainwell 4. While Miles Sanders is probably 1, and then 1A is Jalen Hurts, who's going to probably be their primary rushing threat today, or tomorrow, or actually, I think they play on Tuesday. Either way, regardless. Between the group of players that you've mentioned in a full PPR scoring format, I'm willing to go with Gabriel Davis. I'm pretty comfortable there. If you want to just go ahead and just play it safe and just get the volume of touches, sure, Sanders is that. But Sanders does not get any PPR work, and he has to be able to score a touchdown to be in that kind of same conversation. So that's why I'm leaning in the direction of Gabriel. Thank you. Kevin Effect says, full PPR, Michael Gallup or Chase Edmonds? Great question. Honestly, if Michael Gallup is able to get himself 4 catches for 60 yards and 10 points, I'm more than happy with that stat line. But I think the safer play between the two is probably Chase Edmonds. I think he'll get a lot of work in the second half. And typically we don't want to rely upon garbage time, but I think in this current scenario, he'll still play in the first half because of what injury James Conner is currently dealing with. So I think Chase Edmonds is probably the better play in that regard going into this week, Kevin. Thank you. Mike Carnival says, pick 2, full PPR, Henderson, Foreman, Freeman, Edmonds. All right, Henderson and Foreman. Okay, well, Foreman is kind of in a tricky scenario. I do think that Foreman is a fantastic play this week, mainly because of the matchup. When I think of the matchup at hand against the Pittsburgh Steelers, again, they're the easiest matchup for rushing statistics, so rushing yards and rushing touchdowns, as of the last 7 weeks of the season. And I think they're giving up the second most points to running backs in the last 7 weeks in terms of all stats combined, receiving yards, etc., etc. I do think Foreman is a great play. But my question is whether or not I'm willing to play him over Freeman. Probably not. In a full PPR, I'd probably play Freeman over him. Because just as much as Foreman played last week, so did Dontrell Hilliard, so did Jeremy McNichols, and they had a pretty good amount of touches overall. So when I look at this opportunity, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, we're in a scenario where he could end up getting a very minimal amount of touches and kind of disappear in that regard. So I'm probably going to go Henderson and Freeman. Thank you. All right, let's see here. Next question. Where did it go? All righty. How did I lose this? Okay, there we go. Buck Nasty says Devontae Freeman or Chase Edmonds if James is out. James Conner is playing. So I'm going to play Devontae Freeman there. Thank you very much. Paul sends in a question, says full PPR, Dallas Goedert or Mike Gesicki at tight end. I would play Mike Gesicki again with Jalen Waddle out. Mike Gesicki plays probably more snaps in the slot position than any other tight end in the league right now. Or in the last couple of years, in fact. So Mike Gesicki, he has the inside track to pretty much recover all of those overall targets. And then your follow-up question, Devontae Parker or Zeke in the flex position. I need a higher ceiling this week. My quarterback is Mahomes. My RB1 is Eckler. Already played Stevenson, the Patriots. And then Kupp and Diggs still to play. If you're going for a higher upside, I think Devontae Parker has that higher upside. Is it kind of sketchy to play two Miami Dolphins? Sure. But I would say that that's probably your higher upside form if that's what you're looking in the direction of. And on top of that, Tony Pollard's back. Zeke's, hasn't been able to eclipse 51 rushing yards in the last 7 games. So you're probably in a better position just starting Parker in a full PPR along with Mike Gesicki. Thank you very much, Paul. Appreciate it. Jameson says, Brandon Cooks or James Robinson? I would play James Robinson this week. Even in a full PPR, I'd prefer James Robinson there. Thank you very much. Lawrence Wong says half PPR, Gabriel Davis, Van Jefferson, Pat Freiermuth, or Gibby in the flex. In a half PPR, man, I don't trust Gibby, mainly because I don't know who's going to be starting for that team in general. From what we can tell, there is a chance that Kyle Allen could play if he produces a negative test in the coming days. But if that isn't the case, again, like I mentioned earlier, Garrett Gilbert will be the starting quarterback for the Washington football team this week, which then leads me to think, is that something that I'm looking forward to? Absolutely not. I don't think Gibby would benefit from that in any regard. So then it would kind of lead me to, do I want to play Pat Fryer or do I want to play Gabriel Davis? I don't think there's any going wrong with either of the two, but you need to score. Really either of the three. Gabriel Davis scored a touchdown each of the last 2 weeks. We know Fryer's been a touchdown machine all season long when Big Ben's under center, and Van Jefferson a touchdown each of the last 3 games. So it really, there's no going wrong with either of the 3 options. I think the best guarantee technically for like that 10-point half PPR play is probably Fryer because he's done it so often. But yeah, I don't think there's any going wrong with Gabriel Davis or Van Jefferson there. But yeah, I think Fryer is probably the safer play there in the flex. Appreciate it. Let's hear. Alejandro Gonzalez says half PPR flex, Aaron Jones or Claypool. Aaron Jones is a tricky fella this week. I'd probably still play him because I know if they get down to the red zone, he'll have his opportunities. And if and when he does, if he falls into the end zone, he can very easily, similar to last week, get 8 touches and score 20 fantasy points for no reason whatsoever. In that regard, I'm probably just going to stick with him. Chase Claypool has been relatively quiet this season. Yes, he was able to put up like 13 fantasy points last week, but even at that, it was a difficult day for him to be able to collect those yards nonetheless. So for right now, I would just say Aaron Jones and just stick with the stud running back. Tanner sends in a question, says full PPR, Jamar Chase or David Montgomery? In a full PPR, I would probably think, I think you're better off playing David Montgomery. I think Jamar Chase has a pretty good amount of upside, but the amount of targets that David Montgomery saw last week, and he'll continue to see, 7 targets led to 6 receptions. The amount of routes that he run, he was in the top 5 of all running backs. He was in the top 5 of all running backs last week in that category in routes run. He has just more upside, in my opinion, in that regard. So I'd go David Montgomery against Minnesota. Let's hear. Joey says Schultz or Freiermuth. I would play Freiermuth. Schultz has been relatively quiet, and of course, with Michael Gallup being more of an option in this offense, it kind of shuts him down in terms of total upside. So I go Fryer there. J-Bo, full PPR Tua or Dak. I play Dak over there in a full PPR. And then Schultz or Fryer, I would go Fryer. Again, guys, a lot of the questions that you're asking pretty much could be answered on screen. I know full PPR versus a half PPR is a little bit different. But, I mean, Fryer has just been far too good this season and has been in my top 5 rankings for the last couple weeks consistently. Last couple weeks. I think he's been in my top 5 rankings for the last 6 weeks at the tight end position, or top 8 at least, for a reason. He just continues to put up unbelievable performances. But yeah, Dak and Fryer, those are my suggestions there, J-Bo. Trey Perez says, full PPR flex spot. I really need your help for the playoffs. Carter, Julio, Edmonds, or Claypool. Appreciate everything this year. You got me to first place. No problem. Glad that I was able to help you in any regard. Any way I was able to help, I'm happy to hear it. So, in a full PPR scoring for rep, between the following options that you've mentioned, I think your best way of going about this is probably just playing Claypool. Getting yourself, a very stable 5 catches, 60, 70 yards, get yourself 12 points, and just be good that way. I mean, I think that Edmonds could end up catching him, but it's going to be tough. I think Claypool's probably the better option there. You just kind of roll. It could go either way because, again, I don't know what's going to happen. I can assume, that I can assume one way or another that Chase Edmonds is going to get the touches that he is, but if by any way he doesn't end up producing a higher yard per carry average than I anticipate, he probably won't be as solidified as a play. So for right now, let's just go with Claypool there, Trey. Appreciate it. All right, let's see here. Romans 828 says, Michael Carter worth starting over Melvin Gordon, ? No. Michael Carter takes on the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are the best run-stop defense in the National Football League. They have not allowed a touchdown to an opposing running back in the last 7 weeks. Miami has just shut down everyone. Teams have just stopped running the ball against Miami, mainly because they blitz more than anybody. So when they have extra guys, flying in the box and, making the backfield just completely a mess, it's going to be tough for the New York Jets to run the ball. Certainly, we will anticipate Michael Carter being the lead back, but with Tevin Coleman back in the lineup after the concussion that he sustained, and of course Ty Johnson still there, there's a lot of opportunity to be lost for Michael Carter, especially coming off of the injured reserve. We'd go with Melvin Gordon there. Corbin Gonzalez says, flex pick, Penny, Rams RB, Metcalf, Higgins, Edmonds. If we're playing a flex in a half PPR scoring format, I'm playing Higgins there. It would be Higgins, then probably a Rams, whoever the Rams starting running back is, then Metcalf. But yeah, I think I'm going to just stick with Higgins there. He's just been far too consistent as of late. Thank you. Jay Riz says, Russell Gage or Darrell Henderson in a full PPR scoring format. For right now, I think I still stick with Darrell Henderson. I mean, Russell Gage technically could end up getting himself 6 catches, 60 yards, 12 fantasy points in the blink of an eye, and that is what a full PPR does. You don't even need to really have a great game. You could just be relevant for no reason in any sort of capacity. But I think Darrell Henderson probably falls into the end zone, probably gets himself a pretty solid amount of work on the ground through the air. McVay already said this week, Darrell Henderson's pretty much going to dominate the receiving work in comparison between him and Michelle. So I think the conventional thought would be, let's just play Darrell Henderson. Unless you have a sneaking suspicion that Russell Gage is completely going off this week, I think Henderson's probably the safer play there. Let's hear. Samir sends in a question, says, DK or T. Higgins in a standard league? Deontay's my number 1 wide receiver. I play T. Higgins there. Again, the guy's just been as good as anybody in the last 3 weeks. I think he's the number 2 overall wide receiver in a half PPR in the last 3 games. Has surpassed over 100 receiving yards in each of the last 3, so he's good to go there. That's my suggestion, T. Higgins. AJ sends in a question, says, T. Higgins or Javonte Williams in the flex full PPR? Ooh, wow, that's a good one. Considering Javonte Williams was dealing with a knee injury all week long, only just practiced Friday, I do expect him to be fine, but he's also going to be splitting with Melvin Gordon. In a full PPR, let's go T. Higgins there. Obsidian Z06 says, great show, sir. Need a quarterback, Brady or Murray, followed up by running back David Montgomery. Okay, so let's figure this out one at a time. Brady or Murray? If you were playing in a 6-point per passing touchdown league, I would say Brady. Otherwise, you play Murray today. Brady has had himself, a pretty good season, but unless you're going to get that extra points, I think Murray, the rushing threat that he provides and the rushing ability in terms of down on the red zone, certainly provides him extra overall value, in my opinion, against Detroit today. After that, Melvin Gordon or David Montgomery. I would suggest David Montgomery of the two. Again, he has the entire backfield to himself, while Melvin Gordon is going to, of course, have to compete not only with himself, considering he is a little bit injured and was questionable for today, but should be expected to play against Cincinnati, but also compete against Javonte Williams and the touches that he is going to take. After that, your next question was wide receiver / flex. Van Jefferson, Michael Gallup, or KJ Osborne. Between those three, I do prefer Van Jefferson. I look at this offense and I'm thinking to myself, they're just producing a pretty, steady form every single week. 3 consecutive weeks of 3 touchdowns for Matthew Stafford. And, of course, Van Jefferson in every single one of those games has scored a touchdown. Has been pretty consistent in that regard. Gotten himself a decent amount of targets. Obviously, this last week was outshined a little bit by OBJ in that regard. But as the weeks progress, I think Van Jefferson's pretty safe there. If I was to pick another option out of those in a full PPR, I would just probably go to Michael Gallup and then KJ Osborne right after. Those are my suggestions. Thank you very much, Obsidian. Appreciate it. All right, let's see here. Did I miss anybody? Just want to make sure I don't miss anything. We did Jameson's question there with James Robinson. Okay, Obsidian's there. Samir, yep. Okay, cool. Very good. All right. Next question. Devin sends it a question. Says, Ayuk, Craig Reynolds, or Van Jefferson at the flex? Ayuk, 1,000%. I wouldn't even hesitate. I would just play Ayuk outright this week. Thank you. Next question you had was Fant versus Njoku. I do prefer David Njoku this week at the tight end position. Can you give me a reasoning for the tight end selection? Go watch my Hidden Gems video, and that is my suggestion. It's literally like 5 minutes of me talking. So instead of spewing it out right here, go check out that video that I posted yesterday. Just go down to the timestamps. Did I even do timestamps for that video? I don't remember doing timestamps. I don't think I did timestamps. I think I just posted it. Let me check this out. Wait, I did timestamps. Okay, I guess I did. I don't remember doing that. Either way, go check that out. It'll give you a little bit more insight as to why I prefer Njoku this week. Thank you. Ian Judge says, full PPR, Jeff Wilson Jr. or Brandon Ayuk. Have OBJ and Debo at wide receiver right now. Great. Those are fantastic plays this week. I would suggest going Brandon Ayuk, not only because of the PPR scoring format and the fact that Jeff Wilson Jr. really doesn't get utilized out of this backfield as a receiving threat, but Brandon Ayuk has been extremely consistent when Debo Samuel has been there. I mean, in the last couple weeks here, when Debo Samuel has been active, Brandon Ayuk has been the number 1 wide receiver on the respective team. Debo's only caught the ball 1 time in each of the last 3 games that he's played. So for right now, we're going with Brandon Ayuk there, along with your OBJ and Debo. Thank you very much, Ian. I appreciate that. Craig Newman says, half PPR, flex Gaskin, Javonte, or Hunter Renfrow. In a half PPR, I think Hunter Renfrow, in a full PPR, it would automatically be Renfrow, in my opinion. Half PPR, I'm kind of leaning in the direction of playing Myles Gaskin. Gaskin's kind of been in this scenario where he's being thrown into a perfect matchup. The Jets really just can't stop anybody. I think he could very easily be upwards of 15 fantasy points today in a half PPR scoring format. In order to do that, of course, Renfro's not only going to have to score a touchdown, he's going to have to get himself most likely 100 yards, and then anything else that he gets in receptions. If he catches the ball 10 times, gets 5 points out of it, he can go for 20 points. But again, that is that's a tough ask for a guy to just continue to do on a weekly basis. So for right now, I would say in a half PPR, Gaskin's my suggestion. Thank you. All right, moving on. Christopher. Oh, there it is. Now I got to go back up here. Where did it go? All right, Christopher sends it a question. Says, I need a tight end. Schultz, Njoku, or Everett. Also, should I feel comfortable starting Javonte with the injury and Melvin Gordon, or start KJ Osborne? Okay, so first and foremost, Njoku, Everett, or Schultz. I do prefer Njoku. Again, with Jarvis Landry out, with Kareem Hunt out, with Austin Hooper out, Harrison Bryant dealing with an injury, David Njoku is probably the only receiving option in that offense that I feel comfortable starting. I mean, in terms of all their potential options, obviously Nick Chubb is the number one, but then it would go to David Njoku next, Donovan Peoples-Jones after that. So between the bunch, that's where I'd go. I think Everett could have himself a sneaky good week because of Tyler Lockett's absence, but ultimately he has been sketchy, and so has Schultz as of late, so we'll just go with David Njoku there. As for your question regarding Javonte Williams, obviously dealing with an injury, is he worth playing with, of course, the injury and Melvin Gordon in the backfield over KJ Osborne? I think so. KJ Osborne's great, but unless Osborne's scoring a touchdown himself, it's probably a little bit of a tougher guarantee that he's going to get you more points than a Javonte Williams. So that's my suggestion there. Thank you very much, Christopher. All right, let's check something real quick. All right, so next question. Wait, where did it go? All right, cool. Mike Carnival sends in another question. Says 1 point PPR, Freeman or Michael Carter? I played Devontae Freeman there. Thank you. Again, Devontae Freeman has caught the ball a bunch with Huntley at quarterback. Manuel Oliveira says Devontae Parker or James Robinson in the flex, full PPR. Thanks for the quality content. Everybody hit the like button. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I would suggest James Robinson. I think Devontae Parker in a full PPR very easily gets himself, very easily 6 catches, 70 yards, done. Game, set, match. 13 points in a full PPR. Whether he's able to get that touchdown, that's the whole question. Now, on the other side of this formula, I think James Robinson, with, of course, Carlos Hyde out with a concussion, has full reign of the backfield. This offense is probably going to have a little bit of more juice, I guess, going into this week's matchup with Urban Meyer, done and gone. And, of course, them wanting to prove that they weren't the worst team in the league, but they had the worst coach, which obviously led them down the wrong path. So hopefully James Robinson, on top of the fact that the 2 interior inside linebackers for the Houston Texans are out, that run-stop defense is going to be pretty difficult for them trying to stop James Robinson. So Robinson's my suggestion. Parker, if he can score a touchdown, could be in that conversation. But for right now, we lean with the running back. Futuristic Old School says standard. Cordero Patterson or James Conner. In a standard scoring format in which we are not counting receptions, I think of Cordero Patterson, and I really don't think of him as a receiving back per se. He really hasn't gotten a lot of receptions as of late. The receptions have typically gone in the direction of, Mike Davis in the last 3 weeks. I think he's had 3, 4, and 5 receptions. That's why Mike Davis in a full PPR actually has sustained himself as a decent option, as like an RB3 kind of play. But either way, of the two in a standard scoring format, I'm probably going James Conner because I know he'll score a touchdown. That's like almost the guarantee. So if I can guarantee that, get myself 6 points, probably 40 rushing yards, get over 10 fantasy points, that's all I'm looking for in that regard. So James Conner in a standard scoring format would take the starting spot there. Eric C says, who would you start in the flex in a full PPR scoring format? Van Jefferson, Chuba Hubbard, Donovan Peoples-Jones, or Hubbard. Okay, so you mentioned Hubbard twice. I don't know if you had another option there. Don't really want to play because I have Cup 2. Oh, okay, I was into Van Jefferson. That was a very interesting phrasing as to... Yeah, you mentioned Hubbard twice, which is interesting. Okay, either way, in a full PPR scoring format, though you may not want to play Van Jefferson, I think that's probably your best option, to be honest. Chuba Hubbard against Buffalo, not the greatest game in the world for them. Buffalo is trying to, get that get right week, and they're probably going to take it out on the Carolina Panthers. So Hubbard, I don't want to play. Donovan Peoples-Jones, he'll probably have a third-string quarterback under center, Nick Mullins, and he's going to have to pull coverage from Casey Hayward, one of the best in the National Football League right now. Not interested there. So I'm suggesting Van Jefferson. The next best option in a full PPR league is probably hit the waivers, unless you have somebody else in mind. Thank you. Mike Jones says, no love for Rashad Bateman this week. Thoughts on KJ? KJ Osborne should be great. Mainly because I don't know if you guys have heard about the multitude of players that are going to be out for the Chicago Bears this week. Let me go ahead and let me find that right now. Rashad Bateman again. I don't know if I can trust him in the first round of my playoffs. I don't think I personally could trust him there. He's a great play, but I don't know if I could trust him. All right, so let's talk about this. So in terms of secondary members out, Artie Burns and Eddie Jackson are both out, and Duke Shelley. So they have 3 secondary members that are currently on the virus IR list. This is for the Chicago Bears. This is why KJ Osborne, in my opinion, is a good play. Because with so many members of that secondary potentially out this week or today, by all means, it should be a cakewalk for Kirk Cousins and this Vikings, passing threat. So yeah, I'm good with KJ there over Bateman. Volleyball Video says pick 2, half PPR: Darrell Henderson, Miles Sanders, Jeff Wilson Jr., Devonta Smith. All right, if I have to select 2, Darrell Henderson is the first and obvious selection there, considering he is returning from his little stint on the IR. In regards to the second best play out of the group, technically, Jeff Wilson, man, if he had just scored touchdowns in the last couple weeks, he would be the no-brainer. But for right now, I'd go with Miles Sanders. So Henderson and Sanders, thank you. Shane says, thanks, no problem. Appreciate that. Thank you for supporting the channel. Cinco says, full PPR, higher upside, Gabriel Davis or St. Brown. In a full PPR scoring format, who has the higher upside? I think they're... Okay, I technically, Gabriel Davis does, right? Because if, in fact, Gabriel Davis can score his touchdown like he has done each of the last 2 weeks and accompany that with 80 to 100 yards, then his overall upside is through the roof, 25 points, number 1 wide receiver of the week kind of, craziness. While St. Brown, yes, he's gotten himself an unbelievable amount of targets. He himself could get himself 8 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. So really, it could go either way, but who has the highest likelihood of the deep ball over the top of the respective defense doing that in one play? I think Gabriel Davis kind of sits in that regard. In a full PPR, obviously Gabriel Davis isn't going to have as many receptions, but I think in terms of higher upside, it is on his side if he's able to get the perfect play to score. X-Men says, full PPR, pick 2, Chase Edmonds, Gabriel Davis, Jeff Wilson. Need super advice from the Infinity Brain. Wink. Thank you very much, X-Men. All right, so of the available options that you have, I'm probably, in a full PPR scoring format, Gabriel Davis plays. Now, then it just kind of shifts to whether or not I'm playing Chase Edmonds or Jeff Wilson Jr. In a full PPR, I'm probably playing Chase Edmonds. I think he could very easily catch the ball 3 to 4 times today. And with that, even if he doesn't get himself probably more touches than Jeff Wilson has in the last couple starts that he has had. I mean, I know Jeff Wilson a couple weeks back against Jacksonville had like 19 rushing attempts, but it only led to 40 yards. Like, what were we doing, right? So for right now, I think I'm going to go Chase Edmonds and Gabriel. Thank you very much, X-Men. Mark Merchant says, underdog pick'em. How do you feel that Davis Mills over under passing yards? Same question for Dak Prescott and Kyler Murray. All right, let's go check this out. Again, guys, if you haven't checked out Underdog Fantasy, there's a link down in the description. If you use promo code Andrew today, Underdog is willing to match up to $100 of your first deposit. Let's go see this pick'em real quick. So Dak Prescott passing yards, 277.5. So theoretically, I don't think he surpasses. I mean, I'm thinking about the matchup against the Giants, and I'm thinking to myself, their defense is going to play well. They're playing against Mike Glennon. Does Dak really have to throw for 278 passing yards to win this week? Probably not. So I'm leaning in the direction of probably an under in that regard. As for Kyler Murray passing yards, 265.5. He's in a similar scenario, but I honestly think he actually surpasses that. He might have to just light him up a little bit because without D-Hop there, I guess James Conner being at a limited capacity down in the red zone may lead to more field goals and then eventually more passing yards as the game goes on, as they're not able to shut it out fully in the first half. And then your final question, I think it was Tua, 250 passing yards. Man, I don't think he's able to do that. It honestly might be a triple under this week. In those 3 scenarios, though all 3 should be able to win, I think that in itself makes me feel like it's an under because, I mean, I don't even like unders because I always like to, hope that players are going to outproduce their kind of projections. But in this regard, considering all three should be in matchups where their team heavily wins, I mean, Cowboys should blow out the Giants. The Arizona Cardinals should blow out the Detroit Lions. And, of course, Miami should blow out the Jets. If that all takes place, I don't think these quarterbacks have to throw that much. Thank you. Rockout says, need one wide receiver, 2 flexes. Higgins, Debo, Ayuk, Russell Gage, Devontae Freeman, Penny, Michael Carter. Okay. One wide receiver out of the group that you mentioned, Debo Samuel starts. For the 2 flexes, I would play Higgins, and I would follow that up with also playing Ayuk. So Debo, Ayuk, Higgins, those are my 3. Rockout, appreciate it. MPP808X says, full PPR with 1 point for first downs. I love those kind of leagues. Those are great. Darnell Mooney or Saquon or Christian Kirk. Are you confident in Mixon and Kamara in my point system? Am I confident with Mixon? Okay, so here's the issue with Kamara. So first and foremost, Sean Payton is not there. He is on the virus IR list. On top of that, the starting right tackle, Ryan Ramczyk, and their starting left tackle, Terron Armstead, both out this week. So both of their starting offensive tackles out for another consecutive week here. They don't have their offensive coordinator and their genius behind their offense. So Alvin Kamara could disappear. You never know. But you have to start him because he's Alvin Kamara. And, we just have to. But in terms of your question, Darnell Mooney, Saquon, Christian Kirk, I don't know the stats on first downs. If I was just to pick one raw in a full point PPR scoring format, it would probably just be Saquon, then Mooney, then Christian Kirk. I think the fact that Mooney does not have Allen Robinson there, I think Allen Robinson's also on the virus IR. I can confirm this in a second here. One moment. Let's go see here. Where are the Chicago Bears? Allen Robinson, yeah, he's on the virus IR. He's not expected to play. So that's why Mooney has kind of increased his ranking since Wednesday's video. But for right now, I think Saquon, running back, first down, seems like the way to go. Thank you. All right. Frodom sends in a question. Says, full PPR, Judy or Scary Terry as my wide receiver too. Considering the quarterback position is up for discussion at the Washington football team, I would just play Judy this week against Cincinnati. Thank you. Young Money says PPR flex Devontae Parker, Mooney, Ayuk, Michael Carter, Freeman. In a full PPR scoring format, I'm playing Devontae Parker, Ayuk, then Mooney, then Freeman, then Carter. So Parker is my suggestion there. Thank you. Gunny says, concerned about Diggs' performance while up against Gilmore and a half PPR. Have Parker and Ayuk on my roster. What do you say? Will Gaskin deliver? Gaskin should deliver, 100%. I mean, if he doesn't, it's just a matter of where that game script is gone. Because they should be able to mount a lead, play good defense, and then run the ball. And if you're able to run the ball against the Jets, then like we've seen, running back groups typically score like 30 points per week against that defense. So in regards to Stephon Diggs versus Parker or Ayuk, I don't mind playing Parker over Diggs in a half PPR, but understand that, again, if you're sitting Diggs and he goes off on your bench, can you live with yourself? That's literally the only question. Because I could, in specific, mainly because I play in so many leagues, I could get away with it. But yeah, for right now, I don't mind it. Thank you, Gunny. Appreciate it. Ali, UFC 4 ranked knockout says, need 2 for the flex position. We have Christian Kirk, Rashad Bateman, KJ Osborne. I have Justin Jefferson as well. Devonta Smith, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Rashad Penny, Chase Edmonds. I have Jonathan Taylor, but versus Kelsey, Mahomes, and Eckler. Okay, so we're looking for just ultimate upside in this regard then. What is ultimate upside in the flex position? Okay, so if we're playing 2 flexes, I think KJ Osborne takes one of them, and I think the other probably goes... If Rashad Penny doesn't score a touchdown, he's irrelevant. So we want upside. We want like a ton of points. I think it would have to then be Christian Kirk, and you hope he scores as well. KJ and Kirk, thank you. Appreciate it, Ali. Vincent sends in a question. Says, fantasy playoffs, week 1. Happy holidays. Happy holidays to you as well, Vincent. Appreciate that. LFG half PPR, pick 2. Chase Edmonds, Jeff Wilson, Mike Gesicki. And can I start the Vikings defense? Jags, Raiders, and Titans are on the wire. I'll go ahead and I'll right now mention my top 12 defenses of the remaining for this week. But in terms of who we're starting out of the two in the flex position in a half PPR, Edmonds, Wilson, or Gesicki. In a half PPR, I think Gesicki's fine, but I think I'm going to probably just play both those running backs. I'd go Edmonds and Jeff Wilson. So I play both the running backs there. As for the defense for the Minnesota Vikings, let's talk about this. All right, so really quickly, I want to reiterate because I know I've been on a tangent here answering questions. For those of you who have just joined us recently, do appreciate you guys coming out today, Sunday morning. Kickoff with Kiorkof. Again, everything on screen is half PPR up-to-date rankings as of this morning. Top 36 running backs, wide receivers, top 16 quarterbacks, and tight ends. So that is on screen for those of you looking for individual questions at individual positions answered. Great. Also, in terms of our top 12 defenses for this week. So I'll just go ahead and mention this. I'll probably reiterate it later on in today's episode. But of the remaining defenses that are available probably in your league, let's go ahead and let's mention my top 12. We have it set as such. Miami, Arizona, Buffalo, Dallas, Philadelphia, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, San Francisco, Tennessee, Los Angeles Rams, Minnesota, then Jacksonville. All right. I'll go ahead and once again reiterate it from the top. We'll say the team names this time. Okay, so top 12 defenses this week that are remaining. Dolphins, Cardinals, Bills, Cowboys, Eagles, Buccaneers, Packers, 49ers, Titans, Rams, Vikings, Jaguars. Okay, so in that regard, if the Titans are available, I don't mind running them over the Vikings this week. Thank you very much, Vincent. Appreciate it. Rusty Wright says, love the rankings, but I need safe floor picks because I started Kelsey already. Start 3, Lombardi, Lenny. We have David Montgomery, James Robinson, Javonte Williams, Devontae Parker. My wide receivers are Adams and Deontay Johnson. All right, cool. So if we're starting 3 out of those potential options, I'm starting Leonard Fournette, David Montgomery, and James Robinson. Oh, you have Cordero as well. Oh, my goodness. Holy moly. So if we're starting 3 and we're just playing it safe, yeah, I think you go Lenny, you go Cordero, and you play... Do I want to play Montgomery over? Yeah, we play Montgomery. And those are the safest options because James Robinson technically isn't the safest one because he's kind of had these kind of underwhelming performances as of late. But yeah, I think you're safe going Lenny, Cordero, and Monty, and you're good to go there, Rusty. You're in a good position, man. Great team. Will Lane says half PPR, Hurts or Hill. I'm going to go Jalen Hurts there because, again, if Sean Payton's not there, the starting right and left tackle are not there against Shaq Barrett and JPP, it's going to be an issue. As for Goddard or Muth, I'm going to play Fryer Muth like I typically do every week. The guy I play this week picked up Henry an hour before the game. Needed 80-yard touchdown run from Jonathan Taylor, but 67 will do. Yeah, that definitely will work. That was a great way to save our fantasy season for many of us. Okay, so let me see here. Where are we at in terms of catching up to all these questions that got sent in? We just answered Will's question. Where the heck are you, Will? I don't know where the heck that question went. All right, let's go through these. Here we go. Rapid fire. So a couple questions sent in. All right, so Lore3 Rex says, Hendo, Michelle, Sanders, Rams, RB's going to split. No, I don't think they'll split. I think it'll be more of a 60-40 or 65-35 split in which Henderson is dominating, getting goal line work, and, of course, the receiving work. So Henderson is my suggestion there. Thank you. Dom sends in a question, says, pick 2 in the flex PPR. Parker, Javonte, Higgins, Connor. If I'm picking 2 in a full PPR scoring format, I'm playing Connor and Higgins. Thank you. Francisco says Gibson or Mike Evans this week. Whew, in a full PPR, man, Evans is so bad against. He's so bad against Marshawn Lattimore. I think I'm still playing Evans though, because the Washington football team is in a very bad position. The Eagles are a pretty good run-stop defense. If they don't have a solidified starting quarterback, they're going to stack the box and they're going to force Garrett Gibble to throw, which I'm not too excited about. So we play Mike Evans. Let's see here. Mike Marquez says, full PPR, worth waiting for Lockett's status. Other options are Judy, Treadwell, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Bateman. Start one, DPJ plays Monday. could wait it out. His status may not be known till Tuesday. So unless you have another Tuesday player, I think you're better off just playing one of these other guys today. I'd love to play Lockett. Don't get me wrong, I would. But, I don't think I don't think you technically have the luxury, because I don't really trust Donovan Peoples-Jones, even if it is Case Keenum, because I don't really like the matchup against the Raiders. Casey Hayward just is a really good lockdown corner, and Peoples-Jones is probably not as good of a receiver as many may think against that matchup. So for right now, I'd say let's just pivot. Let's just play Judy and hope for the best. Holy Eternal says, Aaron Jones or Devontae Parker flex full PPR. Let's play it safe. Let's play Devontae Parker this week there. Thank you. Sean Anthony says, love the content for the last 3 years. Standard League. Okay, here we go. So Standard League, all right, 2 leagues. League 1, Minnesota Vikings, Rams, Las Vegas Raiders, Houston Texans, Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, so I'm assuming we're playing defenses. Okay, yeah, we need defensive help. Okay, so of the group, I'm playing the Rams defense. Then Minnesota next, if in fact the Rams aren't available. League 2, Jacksonville, Las Vegas, Cleveland, Houston, Pittsburgh. Of the group, I'm playing Jacksonville's defense. Thank you. So Rams, Jacksonville, those are the 2. So League 1, Rams, League 2, Jacksonville. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it for the support for over the last 3 years, man. Appreciate that. Jorge says, Hollywood Brown, KJ Osborne, or Gabriel Davis in a standard scoring format. Give me Gabriel Davis. Thank you. Antonio Jackson says, half PPR, flex James Conner or James Robinson. I'm perfectly fine playing James Conner. And that is primarily the reason why I have it ranked as such on screen. Again, my half PPR rankings on screen right now. We have James Conner, if I'm not mistaken, at my number 11. My number 10. And James Robinson as my number 11 this week. Thank you. M. Paisley says, PPR Beasley or wait till Lockett and pivot to Swaim. I don't trust Swaim. You can certainly try. Is it worth it? I think Beasley in a full PPR easily gets 10 points. And with that, I'm willing to take that. Now, if you're looking for, somebody just dropped 35 points, 40 points on me with Travis Kelce, I really do need upside. I'm already projected to lose by 30. Then you wait. Otherwise, you play Beasley tonight and you roll with it. Thank you. Lewis sends it a question. Says KJ Osborne, Adam Trautman, or I'm assuming that's what Adam Thielen. Sorry. Adam Thielen's a game time decision. I don't even know. Is he playing today? This is a good question. Let me go look this up. Because if Adam Thielen's playing, then KJ Osborne, get him out. Like we're not worried, Let's see here. So, couple headlines as of this morning. Let's read these, shall we? Bills have declared Zach Moss, Emmanuel Sanders as inactives today. Okay, good to know. Chase Edmonds is active. Okay, let's see what else is there today. Janoris Jenkins is not going to play. We knew that. That's why we anticipate Deontay Johnson and Claypool to play well. Ty Johnson is a healthy scratch. That certainly does help the case of Michael Carter. Malcolm Brown is inactive, which obviously bodes well for Myles Gaskin. Let's see here. Wyatt Teller's going to be back this week. That's good to know. Jimmy Smith is not going to play. That makes Devontae Adams an even better play this week. Holy moly. Moving on. Let's see what else is there this week. Okay, let's go back here. Jamal Williams, is not going to play. DeAndre Swift's out. Okay, anything else? AJ Boye is out for the Carolina Panthers. That's why I like Gabriel Davis. Carlos Hyde's not going to play. Good to know. Okay, yep, as we knew. All right, nothing on the matter of Adam Thielen. So if anything changes, somebody let me know. But for right now, if we're playing one out of those 3, we play Chase Edmonds. And if Thielen's going to be active, then sure, we pivot to him. Rich Dell says, how do you feel about Connor today? Having not practiced this week as a flex. Having not practiced this week? Hold up. Let me check something here. James Conner did practice on Friday. So that is not true. Also, I have AJ Green, Parker, and Penny as a potential fill in a full PPR. In a full PPR, if you want to play Parker because you're worried about it, by all means go for it. Otherwise, I'm playing Connor. I think he's perfectly fine. if he's going to play, then he's not as injured as can be. They're playing Detroit. If they wanted to, they could leave him out and they could easily win without any questions asked. But the reason he's playing is because he is healthy enough to do so, and that's why he's ready to go. And that's why I'm suggesting him. Let's see. Justin sends in a question, says, no questions. Just wanted to say what a dud Pittman was. I mean, not only was he a dud, I mean, obviously J.C. Jackson's great, but the fact that he got ejected for no reason at all, it was not even on him. Like, what is he supposed to do? Like, is he just supposed to take that? Like, I don't understand. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know. The NFL sometimes just doesn't make the right decisions. But either way, yeah, quite the dud. Vic84 says, full PPR start, one wide receiver, 2 running backs, and a flex. T. Higgins, Osborne, Parker, McLaurin, Gibby, Aaron Jones, Henderson, Gaskin, facing against Najee. Okay, so regardless of what you're playing against, as your wide receiver 1, I am playing T. Higgins. As your 2 running backs, I'm playing I'm playing Gaskin, and I'm looking, let's see here. Who else do you have? You have Gibby, you have Aaron Jones, you have Darrell Henderson. Okay, so at that point, I'm playing Gaskin and Aaron Jones. And then as your flex, I'm playing Parker. Thank you. Full PPR. Again, I'll mention it again. Gaskin, Jones, Higgins, Parker. Good to go. As for Stafford or Hurts, I would play Matthew Stafford this week. Israel Trail says Chase Edmondson. I don't know who Edmondson is, but Chase Edmonds. Okay, cool. Or Devontae Freeman in a 12-man full PPR. In a full PPR, I would play Freeman. Thank you. Yeah, the ejection was garbage. I don't understand what the heck that was. It just didn't make sense. Thoughts on Hurts? Yeah, I mean, look, at this moment, he practiced fully on Friday. They're going against a Washington team that literally has 20 players on the virus IR list. They're going to be shorthanded, and it should be a one-sided affair where Philadelphia is able to beat down on their division rival. That's what I'm anticipating. Rob P. says, pick 2, Javonte Williams, Jeff Wilson, Sanders, or Foreman. Of the group of players you've mentioned, I will play Javonte and Foreman. Thank you very much, Rob. Appreciate that. Poseidon's Will says, need a RB2 and a flex for this week. Our options are Wilson, Hubbard, Edmonds, Judy, Van Jefferson, full PPR. Of the group of players that you've mentioned in a full PPR scoring format, I think I'm pretty comfortable rolling with Edmonds and Wilson. If I was to swap out anybody, technically it could be Wilson for a receiver. It would most likely be Wilson for Jefferson. But for right now, let's just play Wilson and Edmonds. Thank you. Brett Dillinger says, flex 1, half PPR scoring format, Dillon, Jeff Wilson, Osborne, Smith, Davis. Man, I think I want to play A.J. Dillon there. I want to play him. In a half PPR, I think it's safe to do so as well. Oh, man. I just don't know if it's viable enough, because if he doesn't score a touchdown, it's just not worth it. So for it's the same thing with all the other players. I think A.J. Dillon or Gabriel Davis, that's the 2 that I prefer. If I was to start one, I think technically, man, I want to play. I want to play Dillon. I would suggest Dillon at that point. Thank you. Carlos says full PPR. DK Edmonds, Foreman. What is the next player? Just wanted to, let's see here. Where in the heck is it? DK Edmonds or Foreman. P.S. Left a comment on the wide receiver rankings video asking about breaking off a portion of my winnings with you. Let me know. Now listen, guys. If you win, you win. It's yours. I don't need it. We're good to go. We're square. I do appreciate you sending in those donations, for the questions. You do what you got to do. I'm here to help. Thank you. Appreciate it. Enjoy. Let's just get the winnings first and foremost before we talk about breaking them off. You feel me, Carlos? But I appreciate the sentiment. Thank you. In regards to who I'm playing out of the 3 players you mentioned, man, I want to play DK there because I don't think Tyler Lockett's going to play. So in a full PPR, I'd probably just go DK there because Foreman, sure, could have himself a decent game today, but just off of receiving yards and receptions alone, I think DK could probably eclipse that number. So I'm going to go DK there. Thank you, Carlos. Eduardo M. says DJ Moore, Gabriel Davis, or Foreman in the flex. If I have to start one in the flex position, In a half PPR scoring format, we are going to play DJ Moore. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. TC says if it's a half PPR scoring format, I'd play Foreman. I wouldn't play DJ Moore. I'd play Foreman, then DJ Moore, then Gabriel Davis in that order. So yeah, it would actually be Foreman, Eduardo. Sorry. TC says half PPR, flex one, AJ Dillon or Gabriel Davis. Pretty much the same thing that I had earlier. I think I'm just going to go AJ Dillon there. With the way that Aaron Jones looked last week, the fact that he was, limited participant on Wednesday and Friday, didn't practice on Thursday, dealing with an illness, there's a chance where AJ Dillon is just asked to be the goal line back. He literally had a drive at the beginning of the second half last week. He literally takes him down all the way to the 5-yard line. Then they bring in Aaron Jones. If that doesn't happen, he scores 13 plus points, and we're in a good position there. So I think AJ Dillon's probably the play. Eric says, who do I play, Van or Gage? I'd play Russell Gage in a full PPR and most likely Van Jefferson in a half. Yeah, probably that's the case. Yeah, in a full PPR, Gage is unbelievably the better option, but in a half, when we're looking for yardage upside, touchdown upside, Van Jefferson is the pick there. Lilish 4 says half PPR, pick 2 of the following: DK Metcalf, Melvin Gordon, Darrell Henderson. Good luck, everyone. Thank you very much, Lilish. Appreciate that. In a half PPR, if we're picking 2, it's most likely going to be DK Metcalf and Darrell Henderson there. And we play them both on Tuesday. Thank you. Phil says, hey, Andrew, need some help with a full PPR league. Final week before the playoffs. I'm 10-3. We have to pick 2 running backs out of the following: James Conner, Josh Jacobs, Melvin Gordon, Rashad Penny. Josh Jacobs, James Conner, those are my suggestions, Phil. Thank you very much. Congratulations on being 10-3. 11-3 is on the way. Christian sends in a question. Says half PPR, pick 1: Javonte Williams, Michael Carter, Brandon Ayuk. I'd play Javonte Williams there. Thank you. Cinco 2X says full PPR. Njoku, Conklin, or Ricky Seals-Jones. I would play David Njoku there. Thank you very much. Cody says Claypool, Mooney, Hollywood, McLaurin, or Renfro. Pick 2. Mooney and Renfro. Cody, those are my 2 suggestions. Appreciate it. Eat Powder says, thanks for all the help. Half PPR, Sony Michel or Gabriel Davis. I'd play Gabriel Davis. DYLY Bar 4 says full PPR, flex, James Robinson, Ayuk, Parker, Gallup, Miles Sanders. In a full PPR score or need points, I played Ramondre Stevenson. Listen, I don't think Ramondre Stevenson was a bad play. In terms of its overall baseline, obviously it didn't meet any of our expectations because we didn't expect the Colts to be up, 20-0 at one point in that game. That wasn't the anticipation of where that game was going to go, especially in my mind. The fact that obviously Mac Jones threw 2 interceptions, they got a punt blocked, everything just went in the opposite direction, which obviously leaned away from Ramondre in the game plan that they originally kind of probably had in mind. But either way, in terms of James Robinson, Parker, I think those are the 2 best options. If I'm playing one between the 2, I'm playing James Robinson there. Thank you. Phil says, wide receivers pick 2. Cooper Kupp, Hunter Renfrow, Rashad Bateman, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. Yeah, Cooper Kupp, Hunter Renfrow, automatics, Phil, for sure there. Could be RB/wide receiver, whatever's the best available for me for the flex. Oh, okay. So if you're going to the flex position, let's see who your prior guys. So you have Melvin Gordon or Rashad Penny potentially available. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Actually, that's probably where we go. We played Melvin Gordon in the flex there. Thank you, Phil. So again, Connor, Jacobs, Kupp, Renfro, and Gordon. Thank you. Frodom says full PPR, Zeke or Hendo. I'm playing Zeke there in a full PPR. Thank you very much, Frodom. Kevin K says James Conner or Miles Sanders. I'm playing James Conner. Van Jefferson or AJ Green. I'm playing AJ Green. Much appreciated. Great work. Being amazing. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Kevin. Thank you for the kind words and the donation. Quite generous of you. Jesse Guevara says non-PPR 2 running backs: Gordon, Carter, Wilson, Patterson, Kamara. Aha. Okay. Gordon, Carter, Wilson, Patterson, Kamara. Kamara and Patterson. I mean, I kind of have to play those 2. Even in a non-PPR league, they're the studs, and I have to play them, especially in my first round of my playoffs. Mark Merchant says, who rushes for more yards today, Barkley or Elliott? Safe to say, I mean, is it safe to say Barkley? I mean, that's my issue. Like, I don't, man, Saquon Barkley is just, okay, we're going to go Saquon. We'll go Saquon today. Let's go Saquon. I believe Saquon Barkley will have more rushing yards than Ezekiel Elliott. Mark, appreciate it. Rockout says full PPR: Allen Lazard, Bateman, or Judy. I would go Judy, Lazard, Bateman in a full PPR. Thank you. Johnny Cause says PPR, pick 2 running backs: Carter, Sanders, Dillon, Edmonds, Javonte. In a PPR scoring format, I'd play Javonte Williams, and I'd probably play AJ Dillon. Thank you. Tyro says, would you go Dak or Taysom Hill in a standard 6-point per passing touchdown league? I think that continues to lean in the direction of Dak, because I don't expect Taysom Hill to do much in the passing game. I think his baseline of value is purely, whether or not he runs the ball. And if he does run the ball, whether or not he's able to get enough yardage to deem himself a valuable play. So for right now, I'd say that Dak Prescott is the safer play in a 6-point per passing touchdown league. Thank you. William sends in a question: full PPR, Henderson, Freeman, Penny, Parker. In a full PPR, it's Parker and Henderson. Thank you very much there, William. I appreciate that. Aaron Walsh says, down 30, Kyler or Hurts. Cards might smoke the Lions, and that's what I anticipate. I expect Kyler Murray to go for 30 points. Like, he needs to put up, if he goes for 4 touchdowns again like he did against the Chicago Bears the other week, that's pretty much what I'm anticipating. That's why I have him at number 1. Bo sends in a question, says, what's different this week with Fournette than last time he played the Saints? He got 5.8 fantasy points. Here, let me scroll over because the message got cut off. Oops. Wait, what the heck? I got to clean these up. Okay, now I can move this over. Did he get hurt that game? Just wondering. Thanks. So here's the difference. As of late, all right, let me go find it right now just so I can specifically point it out so I don't talk out of my... let's see here. All right, so Fournette. So let's pull up his stats from the last time he took on this team. So the last time he played against New Orleans, week 8. 5 targets, 3 catches, 8 rushing attempts, 26 yards. The reason why Fournette didn't get any involvement in that regard, if I'm not mistaken, was Giovanni Bernard. If you hear slapping of the keys, that is Andrew trying to find Giovanni Bernard's stat line. Yeah, so Giovanni Bernard stole the receiving touchdown that week. But not only that, as of late, Brady, after that week, has thrown the ball to Leonard Fournette so many times. I mean, since that week, right, against New Orleans, where he only had 3 catches, he's had 8, 6, 7, 7, and 4 in terms of total receptions. The fact that he's been able to do that, on top of the fact that instead of getting 8 rushing attempts in the last couple weeks, 11, 10, 17, 13, 19, as long as the opportunity is there, that's what the biggest difference maker is purely opportunity. Also, the New Orleans Saints, they play the Buccaneers pretty tight. I mean, last year, it took Brady till the playoffs to beat the Saints. He couldn't beat them in the regular season. They lost to them earlier this regular season, so that was a game in which kind of got out of hand, and Brady lost it. So for right now, the biggest difference maker is the PPR work. So if he's able to get those 7 to 9 receptions that he's been getting for the last couple weeks here, then that's pretty much what separates him from the rest of the pack. Let's see here. Dom says, need a safe pick after the big Kelsey game. Pick 3, Van, Kirk, Foreman, Edmonds. Of the players that you mentioned, I'm playing Foreman, I'm playing Van Jefferson, and I'm probably playing Christian Kirk. Do I want to play Christian Kirk? No, I don't. I'm playing Van Jefferson, Foreman, and Edmonds. Thank you. Will Lane says flex, half PPR, Diggs, Kamara, Javonte, or Parker. If I'm playing one out of the group, I'm playing Alvin Kamara. Thank you very much, Will. Dominic sent in a donation, but there was not a question attached to it. Let me see if I can find your question, Dominic. Here we go. Dominic says, Big Ben or Teddy? I literally have Big Ben as my number 17 overall ranked quarterback. So he's just behind Teddy Bridgewater. Literally. The only reason I have Bridgewater where he is because he's been safe. And that's really all I've been looking for. If Big Ben is going to do anything like he has in the last couple weeks, where he's 2 or 3 touchdowns, 300 plus yards, then by all means, he's the better play. But I'm just worried because Big Ben just hasn't been that guy all season long. And him reverting back to his normal self from earlier this year is always possible, and I'm worried about that. So I've kind of leaned towards the safer of the 2 quarterbacks. Jacob Garcia says, Taysom Hill or Justin Fields? Thanks for all that you do. I still think that Taysom Hill is probably going to run the ball a bunch. With 2 offensive linemen out, both of his starting tackles. He had that same scenario in the game against the Buffalo. Not against the Buffalo Bills. What was the week before? Against the Dallas Cowboys. He had the same scenario against the Dallas Cowboys. Still ran the ball well. But again, it was against Dallas Cowboys, not the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are one of the better run-stop defenses in the National Football League. With that said, if you want to play Fields, you can, but I'm going to play Taysom Hill in that regard. So if I had an option, it was my legitimate starting team, I'd have Taysom in the lineup. Let's see here. Rockout says 1 flex, Bateman, Lazard, Judy, Craig Reynolds. Out of the group, I'd play Judy there in a full PPR. Thank you. Frank D says, flex, 1 PPR, Jeff Wilson, Edmonds. Can you explain the rankings of their positions? So here's the issue. If Edmonds is to get opportunity, right, we're thinking he touches the ball 10 times today. If he's not able to score a touchdown, he would then just have to purely suffice on just like the yardage he's able to garner via receptions and rushing yards. Great, we'll take that. But the issue is that in comparison to Jeff Wilson's in a way better, considering he's the starter, and I know that if they get down to the goal line, they could give him the ball and he could just jump over the pile. It'd be great. In comparison to the other side of the spectrum where James Conner's probably going to score a touchdown in this backfield and Edmonds won't find the end zone, it leads me to think just barely Jeff Wilson's a little bit more relevant because he has a little bit more potential upside. If I had no concern about Conner and Conner wasn't playing, then by all means, Chase Edmonds would be a top 15 back, but Conner exists. Kyler Murray exists. He's got himself 50-plus rushing yards each of the last 2 weeks. He's gotten himself some rushing touchdowns as of late. There's always a potential where Edmonds kind of doesn't find himself that overall upside in comparison to a Wilson. So that's my reasoning there. Sean Foley says, full PPR, Craig Reynolds or Penny? I'm playing Penny there. Reynolds is fine, but overall, I mean, I don't know if I could trust the Detroit Lions offense very much. He may be a decent 8-point play, 9-point play, but I think Penny's very similar in that regard. Jorge Perez sends in a donation, no question attached to it. Let me see if I can find it in the chat. Jorge says, full PPR scoring format. Anita Flex, Michael Carter, Bateman, Gallup, Devonta Smith, Peoples-Jones. If I'm playing one out of the group in a full PPR scoring format, I'm playing Michael Carter. Thank you very much, Jorge. Appreciate that. Greg Lira says, please pick 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, 2 flex. We have Deontay Johnson, Brandon Ayuk, Chase Edmonds, that's Chase. I think it's Jamar Chase. Metcalf, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Freeman, David Johnson, Miles Sanders, Donta Foreman. Okay, so of the available options that you have, let's talk about running back first and foremost. I play Foreman there. And then after Foreman, at wide receiver, I'm playing Deontay Johnson and I'm playing Jamar Chase. At your 2 flex positions, I'm playing Ayuk and Metcalf. Thank you. Justin says Gaskin or Patterson, full PPR. I'm playing Patterson. Thank you. Donahue says, hey, Andrew, need a wide receiver and a flex in a full PPR scoring format. I have Amari, Ayuk, Antonio Gibson, Darrell Henderson. Your advice got me to first place. Appreciate it. No problem. Glad I can help in any regard. In terms of what we're doing with wide receiver and flex in a full PPR with Amari, Ayuk, Gibson, Henderson, I'm probably... Let me think about this for a second. I'm playing Ayuk for sure in the wide receiver spot. I'm just thinking if I'm playing Henderson or Amari Cooper. I think I'm going to play Henderson there. So let's go Ayuk and Henderson. Thank you very much. Leo sends in a question, says, going against Connor, Kamara, Hendo, CD, Andrews, Wagon in the playoffs. So I need upside. Full PPR. Need an RB2 plus a flex. Devontae Freeman, Jeff Wilson Jr., Gabriel Davis, Dawson Knox. Need a RB2 and a flex. Okay, so the RB2 is Devontae Freeman in a full PPR. Again, if I just want to, let's go ahead and let's reiterate this just so we're on the same page as to what I keep referring to. What the heck is this? Devontae Freeman. Okay. Come on, man. Can you just work, please? All right, there it is. So Devontae Freeman with Tyler Huntley this season. In the first game they played together, he had 6 catches on 6 targets. And in this last week, 5 targets, 5 catches. So that kind of baseline of points just makes him the automatic play there. As for Gabriel Davis versus Dawson Knox, because that is the next next question, I would play Dawson Knox. So Freeman and Knox, those are my two suggestions there, Leo. Elias Ambrose says full PPR, flex Gaskin or Ayuk, Devontae Parker. In a full PPR, oh man, I think I'm going to still play Gaskin there. He can get himself some work in the receiving game, but I think his overall baseline in terms of the fact that he plays against the Jets, his touches are going to be there. I think Gaskin's the play. Thank you. Ryan Loden says, full PPR, pick 2, Zeke, Javonte Williams, Michael Carter. I'm playing Zeke and Javonte Williams there. Thank you. Zeke and Javonte. Next question. Matt says, PPR, pick 3. We have Ertz, Carter, Dillon, KJ, Kenny G, David Johnson. Okay. No David Johnson, no Kenny G. So it's between Ertz, Carter, Dillon, and KJ. I'm playing Carter, Dillon, and KJ. I'm leaving Ertz on the bench in a PPR. Thank you. Cody sends in a question, says also PPR, along with the question I asked earlier. Pick is Parker is on waivers. Pick up Parker and play him, Cody. Thank you. Okay, so this is Izadov0228 says Jacobs or Gaskin. I'm going to play Jacobs there again. With Kenyon Drake out, Jacobs just keeps getting more and more work in the receiving game. I understand last week was a little bit of a mess, but I think it'll turn it around this week against Cleveland. Thank you. Brandon Kunkelman says AJ Green or Russell Gage in a half PPR. AJ Green's my suggestion in a half PPR. If it was full PPR, we'd go Gage. G. Boya says standard running back, Aaron Jones, James Robinson, Penny, Henderson. Wide receivers are Van Jefferson, Chris Godwin, Brandon Ayuk. We have Brandon Cooks as well. Who do I start in my running back, wide receiver flex? Okay, so if we're starting 2 running backs out of that group, we're playing James Robinson and Aaron Jones. If we're starting 2 wide receivers, it is Godwin and Cooks. And then the flex would be Brandon Ayuk. Thank you very much. Actually, it's a standard league. It wouldn't be Brandon Ayuk. So the flex would then be Henderson. So it would be Aaron Jones, Robinson, Henderson, Godwin, Cooks. Thank you. Miguel Diaz says Carter or Edmonds in a PPR. Carter. Thank you. Jeffrey Ricklin says full PPR, Bateman or Jeff Wilson Jr. In a full PPR, I kind of want to say Bateman. I don't think Jeff Wilson's that valuable. He has good opportunity, especially against Atlanta. But against Atlanta, it's just so free, but he just hasn't done anything. I might regret this, but hopefully it won't be the case. Let's just play Bateman there. Jaw-dropping comedy says, good morning, guy. I need to fill in my wide receiver 2 in my flex. Half PPR. Need to overcome Kelsey beatdown. Mooney, AJ Green, Claypool, Barkley. All right, so if we're filling the wide receiver 2 in the flex, I'm playing Mooney at wide receiver 2, and I'm playing Barkley in the flex. Thank you very much. Good luck this week, Jaw Drop. Dark says Freeman or Dillon in the flex. Also starting Aaron Jones. Good question. If it's a half PPR scoring format, I think you just play AJ Dillon and you just collect all the Green Bay points. That's my suggestion there. Thank you. Phil says, what are your thoughts on Schultz this week? Top 5 other tight ends are David Njoku, Everett, Uzama, Trotman, or Doyle. I'm going to play Uzama there. Sorry. Why did I say that? I'm going to play Njoku there. I don't know. I looked at Uzama but thought Njoku. Regardless. David Njoku, and I think that's probably the only better play technically. So that's my suggestion. My thoughts on Schultz are, as long as Michael Gallup is getting 9 targets in the games in which he's active, 8-9 targets going in that direction instead of Schultz. That's the reason why Schultz had so much value earlier this season. It's starting to get siphoned away, especially with Tony Pollard back. A couple of the targets won't be going in this direction. Perry Raymond says Marquise Brown, Gage, or Kirk in a full PPR. I'd play Russell Gage. Thank you very much, Perry. Let's see here. Holy moly. Where are we at? Okay. We're almost caught up, everyone. Mikey S says full PPR. James Robinson, T. Higgins, Javonte Williams, and tight end Gronk or Andrews. Nice job. Hit the like button, guys. Thank you very much, Mikey. I appreciate that. First and foremost, Gronk or Andrews. In a full PPR, I prefer Andrews. As for a full PPR between Robinson, Higgins, Javonte, I'm playing James Robinson there. That's kind of what I've been on all day. I think James Robinson's a really good play. I think Higgins is fantastic. Probably can get himself 15 fantasy points as well. But I think I'm going to go with the James Robinson upside. Anthony Hayes says full PPR, Javonte Williams or Ezekiel Elliott. I'm going to go Zeke because I think the threat of Melvin Gordon is far greater than Tony Pollard this week. Thank you. PyroHype323 says start Njoku over Schultz. Yes. How about RB2 Edmonds, Dillon, or Sony? I'd play Dillon there. Also, I need upside for the second round of the playoffs. Would you rank your top defenses this week? Sure. Wait. Also rank your top defenses. Okay, cool. So let's see here, guys. I'll go ahead and mention this for the third time today. Top defenses for the week of the remaining defenses. Dolphins, Cardinals, Bills. Cowboys, Eagles, Buccaneers. Packers, Niners, Titans, Rams, Vikings, and Jaguars. That is where I would go ahead and push it in that direction. Thank you. Western Goods says Henderson or Foreman, PPR RB2. I'm going to play Henderson there. Thank you. Grant sends in a question, says, hey, Andrew, Aaron Jones or OBJ in the flex? Also, if Lamar sits, play Huntley or Mills. If Lamar plays, okay, so Lamar's not playing. So let's just get that in the first thing. So between Huntley and Mills, I would play Davis Mills. So I do prefer Davis Mills this week. Lamar's not playing. In a full PPR scoring format, I'd play OBJ over Aaron Jones. Thank you. Salvador Medina says, pick one, half PPR, Barkley, Parker, Dillon. I'd play Barkley there. Thank you. Berlin B says start Van Jefferson, Hollywood Brown, Devontae Parker. Standard, I play Devontae Parker there. Kevin Sheeran says, have Mixon and Henderson. Need a flex in a half PPR scoring format. Is it Jeff Wilson, Gaskin, or Javonte Williams? I'm playing Gaskin there. Thank you. In my opinion, if it's a half PPR, I'm playing Javonte over Henderson. But anyway, if you're going to play Mixon and Henderson, I would then say that Gaskin is your next best there. M. Leasy says, need a flex in a half PPR. We have Chase Edmonds, Mooney, Foreman, Gallup. Okay, so in a half PPR scoring format, I'm probably playing Foreman. Yeah, that's my suggestion. Let's go Foreman, and then the next best is Mooney. Jerry Garcia sends in a donation. There isn't a question attached to it. Let's see. Jerry Garcia. There's no question anywhere in the chat either. Let's see if I can go find one, though. Maybe you sent one earlier. Here we go. Damn, Tony Pollard or Sony Michel in a half PPR scoring format. About that, I'm going to go Sony Michel. I think the report that I saw earlier today is that they're expecting Tony Pollard to play like a dozen snaps or maybe 24 snaps. Doesn't mean that he's getting any guaranteed touches there in comparison to Sony Michel, who should be seeing 35 to 40% of the work in that backfield. Thank you. Let's see. Our next question is Andrew Gonzalez. Andrew says full PPR Van Jefferson or Freeman. Full PPR Freeman or Van Jefferson. I think that will be very similar. Let's go Van Jefferson there. Thank you. Robert Mills Jr. says pick two, Javonte Williams, Ayuk, OBJ, Gallup, or Terry McLaurin. Of the group, we play OBJ and we play Javonte Williams. Thank you. Travis says full PPR. I'm starting Keenan Allen and Renfro, Nick Chubb, and Deonta Foreman. Who do I start in the flex? Rashad Penny, Amari Cooper, or Russell Gage? In a full PPR scoring format, I'd play Russell Gage in the flex. Thank you. David Ramos. Thank you very much, David, for being here, supporting the channel. Hello, Andrew. Need help. Start two. Point per carry league. Henderson, Gibson, Michelle, Foreman, Penny. Also, which quarterback? Hurts, Huntley, Rodgers. Okay, so I think we talked about this earlier this week on Patreon. I would play Hurts over Rodgers. I think Rodgers is so damn good. But Jalen Hurts, if he rushes the ball 10 times this week, gets himself 40 rushing yards, gets himself a rushing touchdown, the dude already scores 20 points, hasn't thrown the ball once, So, Jalen Hurts in a point per rushing league, automatic play there. As for your running backs, I do prefer going Foreman and Henderson. That would be my suggestion at this point. Foreman, Henderson. Thank you very much, David. I appreciate that. Miguel Diaz says, Miles Sanders or Henderson. I go Hendo there. Thank you. Gabriel says, pick four in a full PPR scoring format. We have Carter, Connor, Cooks, Mooney, Green, Dillon, and we have Smith. Okay. So Connor automatically plays. Cooks, Mooney. And then my last option there is in a full PPR Green. So Connor, Cooks, Mooney, Green. Thank you very much, Gabriel. Craft Keepers says, who do I start, QB Tua or Taysom Hill? PPR. I'd play Taysom Hill there, as you can see on screen. Again, just a reminder for those of you who are in the chat, about 600-700 of you in here. Everything on screen is up-to-date rankings as of this week. I'm just answering questions that have been sent in. I do want to get to the chat and answer all of you guys' questions. Again, people are we jumped the line via the donations, supporting the channel. And of course, a variety of questions that may not be answered on screen. Hopefully by me answering said questions, it may answer yours in turn. Thank you. So I would play Taysom there. As for your flex, Foreman, Henderson, or Van Jefferson, I'm thinking Henderson's the play. Currently, my starting wide receivers are Debo and Cooks. Yeah, you're good to go. I think I'm playing Henderson there. Only Figaro says, thanks for helping me make the playoffs for the third year in a row. How do you feel about Julio this week? Man, with Joe Hayden back for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think that secondary plays a lot better this week. And Julio's going to be in a little bit of trouble considering, the Titans aren't that good right now. They really aren't. But luckily, it's a decent matchup. But yeah, I'm not trusting Julio this week. Need 2 in a flex. Half PPR. OBJ, Darnell Mooney, Marquise Brown, Miles Sanders. In a half PPR scoring format, I'd play Mooney and Odell Beckham there. This is to underscore. Thank you very much, underscore, for the donation. Appreciate it. Joey Bognar says half PPR. Need 2 flex. Antonio Gibson, T. Higgins, Ayuk, Gesicki. I'm playing Ayuk and T. Higgins there. Thank you. Drippy Nick says Parker, OBJ, or Cooks. I need 2 receivers in a full PPR scoring format. Wow. Great question. Let's go to my full PPR here. Wide receiver, we're looking at... Okay, so OBJ, Parker, Cooks. So, yeah, we're man, I think Cooks could yeah, we're going to play Parker there, though. Okay, we'll play Parker. So, OBJ and Parker, those are my 2 suggestions there. Cooks is just on the... He's on the line. I could technically play him over Parker, but I think Parker has a little bit more touchdown upside. Robert Mills Jr. says AJ Green or Mike Evans. I'm almost forced to play Mike Evans because of who he is and what he's capable of. Though he hasn't played well against the Saints in the last 4 games that he's played against them, it doesn't mean he can't go for 100 yards and 3 touchdowns today, because he can, right? We're just assuming based on his history that it'll be an underwhelming performance in comparison. That being said, I have to play Mike Evans. The guy's averaging, 15.5 points per game when Antonio Brown's not in the lineup. So we're gonna roll with it. Dylan Taylor says half PPR James Conner or Cordero Patterson. I'd go Cordero Patterson there. Thank you. Let's see here. Where are we at? Bardia sends in a question. Schultz or Pitts, half PPR. In a half PPR scoring format, I would play where's Schultz on the screen? Yeah. So we have Kyle Pitts at number 11, Schultz at 12. So we're going Kyle Pitts there. Is 49ers tight end defense that good? They can be exposed. Let's put it that way. They can be exposed. So yes, we're playing Pitts. Aurelio Legends says Brandon Ayuk or Darrell Henderson in the flex. In a half PPR, we go with Hendo. In a full, we go Ayuk. Thank you. Dark says Carter, Edmonds, St. Brown, Bateman, half PPR. Carter, Edmonds, St. Brown, Bateman. Okay, in a half PPR, we go Carter there. Thank you. Grant Ario says, thanks, man. Also, one more question. Since I go with OBJ, do I go Aaron Jones or Amari Cooper in the flex in a full PPR? I think it's, man, I don't want to leave Aaron Jones on the bench. That's my only problem. And I think I'm just going to play Aaron Jones there. So that's what I would play at the flex. Jesus Chavez says, should I be worried about starting Gaskin, Parker, Gesicki, and Miami defense in the same matchup? Other options on tight end are David Njoku or Gerald Everett, Miles Sanders running back, Chase Edmonds running back, Lazard, Lockett at wide receiver. Should you be worried? Okay, so okay. You have all of your eggs in one basket. If the Miami Dolphins get blown out today and they're the worst team, then you're going to lose, right? So the question is, are you willing to risk it all with them? In my opinion, I think those are the best plays. I wouldn't suggest them if they weren't, but you are in a specific scenario in which, of course, you are purely predicating your success on one man, and that's Tua. he has to carry you. So Jesus, I would go and I would say, while we still have time before kickoff, go to the local church, light a candle, say a prayer. Let's hope that Tua gets the job done, because I'm saying let's stick with the lineup. Thank you. Corey Olson says, Eagles or Tampa Bay? I have the Eagles higher than Tampa Bay this week. I'll go ahead and once again reiterate my top 12 defenses. Goes as such. Miami, so we'll go Dolphins, Cardinals, Bills, Cowboys, Eagles, Buccaneers, Packers, 49ers, Titans, Rams, Vikings, Jaguars. Thank you. Francisco says, Osborne, Edmonds, or AJ Green? In a half PPR, I'd probably go with Green there. Thank you. Amir A says Zeke, Javonte, or Devontae Parker. In a half PPR, probably going Zeke there. In a full, I'll probably go Parker. Eddie sends in a question, and Eddie says, need a wide receiver 3 and 2 flex options. We have Devonta Smith, AJ Green, Chase Claypool, KJ Osborne, Michael Carter. Thanks for the hard work this season. No problem. I appreciate you supporting the channel, my friend Eddie. So here's the dealio. In terms of the wide receiver 3 option that we're playing, it's probably going to go AJ Green there. And then we're going to the flex position, and I'm thinking, what do I want to do here? What do I want to do? Because I'm thinking to myself, Devonta Smith could be great, but is it going to be better than those running back options? Probably not. So let's do this. Let's go AJ Green, Michael Carter in a full PPR. I'm thinking Claypool's the better play there. So let's go AJ Green, Claypool, Michael Carter in a full PPR. Ryan Harris says, who has the safest floor and the highest upside in a full PPR? DJ Moore, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devonta Smith. Who has the safest floor? DJ Moore. Who has the highest upside? Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think they all have upside, but I think Amon-Ra, based on the targets, based on the fact that TJ Hawkinson isn't there, that's why he gets as much of the opportunity as he does. And if he continues to get that kind of level of opportunity, he has the highest upside. Nathan says, non-PPR, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. Kamara, Javonte, Dillon, Jeff Wilson, Godwin, Brandon Cooks, Van, OBJ. Okay. 2 wide receivers are going to be Godwin and OBJ. And then in your RB position, we're playing Javonte and Kamara. In the flex position, we're playing Brandon Cooks. Thank you. Switchblade Dragon says Pitts, Judy, Craig Reynolds, or Michelle. In a PPR, I go Pitts there. Thank you. Anthony Hayes says 2 running back spots in a full PPR, 1 flex. Who do I play? We have Chubb, Mixon, Antonio Gibson, Pollard, Penny, Brandon Ayuk, Melvin Gordon. We're playing Mixon. The next running back spot to fill there probably goes to Melvin Gordon. And then as for your flex position, I'm playing Brandon Ayuk. Thank you. CBZ says full PPR. Who do I pick for the 1 quarterback? We have Tua or Fields or Burrow. I'm playing Joe Burrow there this week. Had Eckler as my RB1, and RB2 goes to Aaron Jones, Henderson, Jeff Wilson. Aaron Jones, Henderson, Jeff Wilson. I'm going Aaron Jones there in a full PPR. Thank you. There's a couple questions sent in here, or donations. There was no message attached to it. Let's see if I could find it, though. Hooner sent in a donation, but there wasn't a message attached to it. If you want to type in the chat, that'd be great. Otherwise, thank you. Danny says, pick 2 in a full PPR scoring format. Cole Beasley, Christian Kirk, St. Brown, or Russell Gage. Russell Gage and St. Brown. Those are my 2 suggestions there, Danny. Thank you. Dylan Taylor says, I'm in a guillotine league. There are only 4 teams left. My team is Eckler, Patterson, Godwin, Deontay Johnson, Montgomery, CeeDee Lamb, Kittle, James Conner. With James Conner on my bench, would you replace anyone with Conner? Wow. Eckler, Patterson, Godwin, Deontay, Montgomery, CeeDee. No, I wouldn't. I'd leave him on the bench. Wow. You have that good of a team. Crazy, huh? Just crazy. Okay, I think I skipped a couple questions here. Got to go back. Saud Bakari says, Parker or Ayuk or DJ at wide receiver 2. I'm assuming DJ is No, it's not Deontay Johnson, right? I think you mean DJ Moore. So if we're picking of the 3 wide receivers, I'm playing Parker. Started Eckler, Gibby, and Henderson at the flex. Should I bench one to flex one? I would bench Gibby and I would play Ayuk. That's what I would do. Thank you. Steven says, thanks, Andrew. Why Hendo rated lower than Javonte? Because, okay, well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about Hendo. Hendo is in an offense that is not predicated on running the ball. The entire scheme for Denver is run the ball first, then deal with everything later. There's a reason why they are able to survive with Teddy Bridgewater, because they don't need Bridgewater to win games. They need him not to lose games for them. So at that point, as of late, it's been a scenario in which it's just all running and all opportunity to running backs, while on the other end of the spectrum for the Rams, that hasn't been the case. And though it is a good matchup, I don't think it's just going to automatically turn into Hento showing up and going for 20 carries. I'd love that to be the case, but I don't think it's going to be. Michael Santos says St. Brown or Chase Edmonds in the flex in a full PPR. I'd play St. Brown there. Thank you. Okay, so we're scrolling down here. We did those questions. Steven, we did that one. To the Max says need one for the flex. St. Brown, Gallup, Michael Carter, or Osborne. I'd play St. Brown there. Thank you. Salvador Medina says Parker, Cooks, Kirk, or Jefferson. If I'm picking 1.5 PPR, I'm playing Brandon. No, wait, am I playing? No. I'm playing Devontae Parker. Sorry. As for we did that. Okay. Joseph Meyer says full PPR. Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Osborne if Thielen sits. Amon-Ra in a full PPR. Thank you. Max sends in a question. Says Saquon Barkley or Brandon Cooks PPR. In a PPR scoring format, I'm probably playing Brandon Cooks. Honestly, I love Saquon, but I don't know if he's going to be able to cut it. He gets 50 yards, gets himself 4 catches for like 20 yards. Should very easily get like 12 fantasy points. But I think Brandon Cooks could do that in his sleep this week if Saquon doesn't score a touchdown. Ron T says need 2 of these. Need 2 of these 4 this week. AJ Green, Devontae Smith, Devontae Freeman, Jerry Jeudy. If we're playing 2 out of the 4 in a full PPR scoring format, we're going Green and we're going Smith. Thank you. All right, so let's see a couple things here. My neck is broken. Thank you very much. Holy moly. How far? It has already been 1 hour and 40 minutes. How? That was like a time. Like, where did the time go? Where did all the time go? Like, actually. Where did all the time go? I'm so confused. All right, so we're almost done here. So let me see. The guy sent a question in. Okay, so yeah, okay. Hooner sent in a question, says, yo, I need to pick wide receiver 3 in a flex. DK Beasley, St. Brown, Darrell Henderson, and Sony Michel in a full PPR scoring format. In a full PPR, I'm playing DK and St. Brown. Thank you. As for, did I miss anybody's? Okay, Nomad sent in something. Nomad says, up in the air between 4 players. Who should I start in the flex? Russell Gage, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Christian Kirk, Miles Sanders. If it's a half PPR scoring format, I'm suggesting Sanders. If it's a full PPR scoring format, I'm suggesting St. Brown. Thank you, Nomad. Appreciate that. All right, so we did Ron's question. We got to Max. We got to Joseph. We got to Dylan. We did Danny's question. We're playing St. Brown and Russell Gage there. Okay. Corey Olson sends in okay, so a couple more questions. So John G says, flex Zeke, Javonte, Michael Carter, or Chase Claypool. Out of the 4 options there, I'm playing Zeke in a full PPR. As for Corey Olson's question, have Fryer Muth and D. Johnson. Should I be worried? No. I mean, I haven't been worried all season. I have them stacked in multiple leagues. So you're good to go there, Corey. Ian sends in a question, says full PPR, 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. We have Aaron Jones, Gallup, Edmonds, Dillon, Osborne, Donovan Peoples-Jones. What's my opinion? Okay, so in terms of wide receiver, I think it's relatively easy just to roll with. Oh my God, why are people making so much noise in my house? Holy moly, man. Holy moly, they're just making so much noise. I'm going to lose my mind. I've lost concentration. Aaron Jones plays at running back. Your starting wide receiver is most likely going to be Michael Gallup. Is he going to be in a full PPR? I'm playing Gallup over Osborne. So Aaron Jones, Michael Gallup, flex probably is going to be A.J. Dillon. Yeah, that's what I'd go with. Jones, Gallup, Dillon. Thank you very much, Ian. Kane is on YT says, pick one, Foreman, Bateman, Miles Sanders, full PPR. Foreman, thank you very much. Anthony Hayes says, why no Chubb from earlier question? Did you mention Chubb? Oh, dude, I didn't even see him. Sorry, Anthony. Holy moly. 2 running back spots, full PPR. Chubb and Mixon automatically play. I mean, you can see it on screen. Full PPR doesn't matter. Chubb and Mixon are automatics. So in terms of who I'm playing in the flex, besides those two, awesome. In a full PPR, we play Brandon Ayuk there. Thank you for the clarification. Glad we were able to figure that out. Perry Paul says, Gabriel Davis or Miles Sanders? I kind of want to play Gabriel Davis, but I think the safer play is Sanders. With Jordan Howard back, let's go Gabriel Davis. Troy comes in with a question. Troy, let's see what you got here this week, my guy. Where's your question, Troy? Rashad Penny or Chuba Hubbard? I'm playing Rashad Penny there. Thank you. Jacob Hadida says, hey, Andrew, in a standard league, 6 point per touchdown, are we playing Jimmy G, Tua, or Taysom Hill? All right, so if it's 6 point per passing touchdown, I'm playing Jimmy G. And I'm not even risking it because I think Jimmy G could legitimately against the Falcons throw for 3 touchdowns. So I go Jimmy G there. As for Gaskin, Foreman, or Sony Michel, Gaskin, Foreman, Sony Michel, we're going to for sure play Gaskin. At wide receiver, Renfro, Amari, AJ Green, I'm playing Renfro. And then if I'm playing one out of the group for a flex, like you suggested, is it a full PPR? No, it doesn't even mention. It's a standard. Okay. Then it would be Foreman. So it would be Gaskin, Foreman, Renfro. Those are my 3 suggestions. Thank you. Frederick sends in a question, says full PPR flex. Amari Cooper or Javonte Williams? I'm playing Javonte Williams there. Thank you very much, Frederick. I appreciate that. Steven says, crazy to bench Lenny for J-Rob. I think it is. Just based on how great Leonard Fournette has played as of late. As for whether or not it is a viable option to play J-Rob in that regard, I think you can get away with it, but it just depends on what the rest of your team looks like. So yeah, it's just kind of interesting. Gee, many Christmas people in this house. Okay, moving on. Sorry about that, guys. Dwayne Wells says, all right, what the heck is this? All right. So Dwayne sends in a question. Thank you very much. Says full PPR, Devonta Freeman or Gabriel Davis. In a full PPR, I think Freeman, again, he's going to catch the ball like 5-6 times, probably run for 50, 60 yards, get over 10 fantasy points relatively easily. The touchdown upside is on his side. Technically, no, because I don't think the matchup's the greatest, but he could very easily do so. So, this has always been tough, man. I just don't know what to expect without Lamar in that lineup. Like, they could obviously score, but it's just not guaranteed. That's the problem, especially against the defense like Green Bay that has been playing so well. So, for right now, let's just go Davis. Let's see here. Okay, so Nomad and Troy sent in some more stuff here. Troy, what is your next question? Let's see here. Troy says, half PPR Cooper, Mooney, or Osborne. I'm going to play, or Claypool. I play Mooney there, Troy. Thank you. Nomad, let's see what your question is. Nomad. 2 running backs, Miles Sanders or Zeke and Robinson. Okay, so I'm playing Zeke and Robinson. Those are the 2 running backs that I would suggest there, Nomad. Thank you. And then it says, okay, yeah, cool. So we did that. Awesome. Jake St. Paul says 3-point passing touchdowns. Taysom Hill or Dak. Wow. 3-point per passing touchdown. That's terrible. I think at that point, wow, Dak's going to have to throw for like 4 touchdowns to be able to compete there. So let's go Taysom Hill. Let's see here. Okay. All right. So is there an argument for Chase Edmonds over James Conner in a PPR? There's an argument for everything. It's just a matter of whether it actually makes sense. And in my opinion, I don't think it makes sense because in my mind, I think, if James Conner's playing, then he's healthy enough to play. Because why would they risk the potential for re-injury or aggressing the injury even more to where he's going to miss significant time if they have the ability to rest him, right? So I'm thinking James Conner, though he was limited this week and on Friday's practice was there, but he was limited, he's going to be at a full capacity. That's what Cliff Kingsbury has pretty much said all week long. And that's why we have him in this conversation. The only reason I have him lower than I typically do is because I think if they mount a big enough lead early on to where James Conner doesn't have to play on receiving downs and all those receptions that he got last week, 9 catches for 95 yards. If those start to go in the opposite direction, go to Chase Edmonds, then of course there could be a conversation there. But I think this is just a game in which you have to play James Conner. Alex Saunders says, Javonte Williams or Russell Gage in a full PPR. I'm going to play Javonte Williams there regardless. I mean, I think Javonte pretty much is going to clean up the receiving work. Gage certainly is a machine, but as of late, Javonte's just been too good to not start. Barney says, Reynolds, Bateman, Moore, Michelle, or Lockett in a standard flex. If we're playing one in a flex position, it's DJ Moore. I don't think you have the ability to wait for Lockett. I don't think we do, unfortunately. Okay, cool. Let's see. Did we get everything in that regard? Okay. Lucas Jones says Javonte Williams or Michael Carter. I'm playing Javonte Williams there. That is my suggestion. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, so now that we've caught up, is Mooney going to get more volume than Gage? He should, because there's no what's his name? There's no Allen Robinson today. He's gone. He's not playing. So that is my suggestion. Barney says, sorry, Rondell Moore. Oh, okay. So it's Reynolds, Bateman, Rondell Moore, Michelle Lockett. Then you play Bateman. Thank you very much. Okay. Ayuk or Foreman in a full PPR? Sean, I'd go with Ayuk. Do I bench Gibson for Parker? I mean, at this point, yeah, I think I would. Yeah, I would. Honestly, I would. If I have the luxury of waiting for Lockett, since I have Miles Sanders in my flex, how does that make sense? Miles Sanders plays on Tuesday. Is that what you mean by that? Let me see here. Well, yeah, actually, yeah. If he plays on let me see here. Is that the game on Tuesday? Because if they're also there, then yes, you have the ability. Yeah, okay, you're good to go. So there you go. Glad that you brought that up. So if you do have Miles Sanders and Lockett on the same team, or if you have an Eagle or Washington football team player and Tyler Lockett on the same team, then yes, you can put them both in the flex or put Lockett in the flex and wait till Tuesday and then pivot if you need to. So yeah, you could very easily. And if you can do that, I would. I absolutely would. All right, cool. So we did that. Okay, Dom sends in a question, says DK or Gibson in a PPR. I play DK. Mahomes and Tyreek Hill gave me a nice start. Yeah, certainly a nice start. I mean, I think Tyreek Hill certainly had himself a great game, but Travis Kelce really did bring that one home. It was awesome. Matthew sends in a question, says Parker or Marquise Brown. Parker 1,000%. Marquise Brown hasn't done anything in a while. Taylor says Julio or Chuba Hubbard. I would play Chuba Hubbard there, Taylor. Thank you very much. Phil says no question, just telling you that I've been a supporter of your channel for the last few years. Yep, trust me, I know, Phil. Going to Patreon, going from Twitter, all that kind of stuff. You've helped me win some championships. Couldn't thank you enough. Trying to come back from Hill JT beatdown. Listen, we're going to try our best. You got a pretty good looking team there, Phil. I mean, the last 2 years you've had some unbelievable teams. I remember last year's team, and that thing was, I mean, there's a reason why you were able to clean up that league as easily as you did. So I appreciate the support, man. All right, so Brian Messenger says, hi, Andrew. Great work this season. Brady or Allen, 6 point per passing touchdown league. in that regard, I'm going Brady. Full PPR, Uncle Lenny or Cordero Patterson. I'd go Lenny as well. Thanks for getting me to the first place this season. No problem. I mean, a lot of the work was probably done on your part as well. I mean, you had to sit there and draft the team. I'm glad I can help anyway on a weekly basis. Either way, Brady, Lenny, we're starting our Tampa Bay Buccaneers today. Eduardo M says, need a HR, high risk, high reward, high risk, high reward, higher upside player, because the combo of Stevenson and opponent having Kelsey. Lawrence start over Stafford because Houston and running upside. No, I think I'm still playing Stafford. I have to play Stafford. I understand the idea, but like Stafford has been 3 touchdowns each of the last 3 weeks. So whatever rushing upside Lawrence is able to put forward, unless he's going for 100 yards and a touchdown on the ground, nothing's really going to be able to help eclipse Stafford's overall production. I think Lawrence has also been stunted in terms of his overall growth this season. So he really does look like a pure rookie rather than something, the way that, of course, a Justin Herbert looked last year. So for right now, I'm sticking with Stafford there, Eduardo. Jacob Brady says, Claypool or Jeff Wilson Jr. in a standard league. I play Claypool. Thank you. Sean Dean says, Titans D or Jaguars D? I have Titans D a little bit higher. Again, I'll go ahead and reiterate it one more time. From the top 12 defenses: Dolphins, Cardinals, Bills, Cowboys, Eagles, Buccaneers, Packers, 49ers, Titans, Rams, Vikings, Jaguars. Thank you. Okay, let's go into the chat. Oh, never mind. Another question was sent in. Simply, Rage says, if OBJ gets a big game top 12 next week, wait, what? If OBJ gets a big game top 12 next week, come on. The only reason that OBJ earlier this week, as in like the Wednesday rankings, wasn't where he is currently, is because, he was on the virus IR list. I didn't know if he was even going to play. Now, he's been cleared. He should be good to go. Hopefully he plays Tuesday. Again, the only reason, or the only thing that limits OBJ is now Higbee's back in the lineup, Henderson's back in the lineup, and Cooper Kupp is always going to get himself 15 targets, right? So if the touchdown doesn't accompany that 77 yards from last week, sure, he's still a decent play in a full PPR, but in a half PPR, he's less than 10 points, right? So it's just, we got to be careful. As long as he keeps scoring touchdowns, by all means, he'll keep rising in the rankings. Ron S says, Cooks or Foreman, half PPR plus 100 bonuses. I play Cooks then. Thank you. Dave McVicker says, Foreman, Jeff Wilson, or Penny. I'm playing Foreman. Thank you. Strife Bro says, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Amon-Ra St. Brown, or Gibson, Andrew. If we're playing in a half PPR, we play Gibson. If we're playing in this full PPR, we play St. Brown. Okay, cool. Higbee still shows as out. If I'm not mistaken, he got activated, no? Let's see here. Maybe he didn't. No, wait, hold up. I'm so confused. He went back on the IR list? So, hold up. So he was sent to the IR list on December 13th. Then he was removed from it the following day on the 14th. And then he was put right back on the IR list on the 17th. Oh, so he's probably not. Damn. Okay. So then at that point, you kind of probably have to pivot away from Higbee. Because unless you have another option, which is Gerald Everett in that same game, or Goddard or Ricky Seals-Jones on Tuesday, you pivot away from him. So, I mean, there's a possibility that Everett and Ricky Seals-Jones is available in your league. And if they are, you can try to play you can try to play Higbee, but in pivot if he's not available. But yeah, we don't want to end it up like last week where on Monday there's no other options besides, a backup tight end. So hopefully, yeah. Damn, I honestly, I didn't know that he went back because I knew he got activated, but I guess 2 days ago he went back to the virus IR list, which is okay. Good to know. Let's avoid Higbee unless you have a pivot option. Okay. Big sends in a question. Let's see here, or send in a donation. It says PPR need a flex. Dylan, Edmonds, Jeff Wilson, Julio. I'm playing Dylan there. Thank you. Okie dokie. Another question was sent in. G Supreme says full PPR Edmonds, Foreman, Claypool, Carter. In a full PPR out of that group, I want to play Foreman or Carter. I think I'll just go Foreman there. Thank you. Andrew Flex, DJ Moore, or Melvin Gordon in a full PPR. I think the easier play is most likely just rolling with the running back there with Gordon. Standard scoring, we rocking with Penny or Devontae Parker? I'm still running with Parker there. Tragedies. Zeke or Sanders? Vibe, I go Zeke. Gibson or Connor? I go James Conner. Schultz or Ertz? We're going Ertz. Javonte or Melvin Gordon? Javonte. Again, guys, a lot of the questions you're asking, literally on screen. They could be answered via the rankings on screen, and there would be no problem there. So, again, you don't need my blessing. Again, it's on screen for those of you who are wondering. I know that some of the flex questions are different, but, with the matchups, do you have Burrow over Cousins this week? Again, on screen, I currently have Joe Burrow as my number 8 quarterback and Kirk Cousins as my number 10. Am I crazy? Am I muted? Hello? Guys, everything's on screen. I put it on screen for a reason. I'm trying to help as much as I possibly can. Hopefully that helps. I guess it somehow doesn't. Maybe the idea doesn't, like, we're 15 weeks into this, and somehow we still don't know that it's on screen. Anyway. Hakima says, PPR, RB2, Saquon or Gibson? We're playing Saquon there. Thank you. Moby1 says, chat, hit the like button. Yes, if you guys could. Be greatly appreciated if you guys could click the like button. You see, typically that right there, that's edited out when I edit my videos. Otherwise, I probably have like 2 or 3 of those every video that I record. Mooney or Gibson? At this point, if you're playing, if you're playing in a full PPR, I think Mooney's probably a decent play. How about I'm really stuck? OBJ or Parker? Opponent has Andrews and Kittle. Wow. I mean, I think I'm still running with OBJ. I think Parker's fantastic. If you could play them both, I would, but you probably can't, so you just play OBJ. Let's get these W's, boys. That's correct. Let's get it. Parker or Amari? Guys, again, it's on screen. I'm playing Parker over Amari Cooper. What are we doing? Donta Foreman or Mike Gesicki? I mean, at that point, you just play Foreman. Cordero Patterson, OBJ, Aaron Jones, Javonte Williams, Brandon Ayuk, Jerry Jeudy. Pick 2 out of the 17 of these guys in a full PPR. I'm playing Cordero Patterson, and I'm playing Javonte. Thank you. Troy sends in another question. Troy, let's see what you got here, my guy. Is Cooper getting as many targets with CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup, or is Claypool a better option? Is Claypool a better option? I think Claypool's... I don't think Claypool has... Oh, man. Is he a better option? I think in a full... Maybe in a full PPR. Maybe, just maybe. But Big Ben's got to be on. Like, he's got to be on fire, like, off the rip. That's why I'm thinking just Cooper's just safer. Why did you move Devonta Smith up in your rankings? Mainly because I knew that, what's his name? Jalen Hurts was going to play this week after the Friday practice. Because the last time we saw Devonta Smith with what's his name? Gardner Minshew, he didn't see very many opportunities. For the person who asked DK, Henderson, or Higgins, I'd play both the receivers there. Gaskin or Cooks in the flex? Probably Gaskin there. SOS, flex, full PPR, Hollywood Brown, Russell Gage, Sony Michel. In a full PPR, we go with Russell Gage. Sony Michel doesn't catch the ball. Hollywood Brown, without Lamar Jackson, a good Lamar Jackson, isn't worth the play. Okay. Thank you, guys. Flex one, Devontae Parker or Henderson. I play Parker there. Would you play Gibson, Javonte, Melvin Gordon, Aaron Jones, Devontae Parker, full PPR pick 2? Out of the group, I'm probably playing Javonte and Parker. Javonte Williams and Devontae Parker. Cool. Thank you. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Kickoff with Kiorkof for week 15 is coming to a close. I appreciate you guys supporting the channel with your viewership every single day, clicking the like button, sharing. I understand it's difficult to share your fantasy source with friends, family, all of the above. Either way, if you guys could do so, whether it is now or after the season, that'd be greatly appreciated. Help grow the channel, keep the ball rolling. All right, guys, I appreciate it. Tomorrow, waiver wire. We'll see what comes of it. Hopefully something. But outside of that, I think we're good to go. Gronk or Andrews? Again, Anthony Jenkins. The answer has been on screen for the last 2 hours and however many minutes. Also, it was posted on Thursday. Like, guys, I'm telling you, the rankings are on screen. How? I mean, like, okay, this is what we have to do. Hold up. Maybe we should do something like this, where instead of having that, we should just change it where I'm just here and we just have no rankings on screen. I think that might be better, to be honest, because if the rankings aren't on screen, maybe you guys will actually, like, what are we doing? Like, come on. I'm telling you guys, I'm trying to help. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys supporting the channel. It's been great. Hope you guys all win. If you don't, the fantasy gods weren't with us on this day. We'll see what happens. Either way, good luck, everyone. Enjoy your Sunday. And let's get a W. Until tomorrow, I'll see you guys. Peace.